Chapter 904. What did he mean by winning a few championships along the way? Which of the other events were easy enough to win the championship? Was bragging so easy these days? According to the rules of the tournament, there are still 2 hours before the end of the martial arts competition. Referees. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of figures appeared in the air. Some tore through space, some shuttled through the void, and some appeared and disappeared mysteriously. By the time the audience reacted, they had already entered the arena. Sage Realm, and Sage Realm. At this moment, every expert who arrived was actually a Sage Realm expert. Zhen Dang's 99 pill furnaces refining an 8th grade sacred pill was really wonderful. This old man was really addicted to watching. You didn't see the scene of Zhen Dechang forging. Motherf *Ker, this brat directly forged a level 8 artifact embryo, scaring those old ghosts who were the judges. Refining an 8th grade sacred pill with 99 pill furnaces? Forging an 8th grade weapon embryo? The conversation of the sages made the audience in the martial arts competition venue collectively dumbfounded. Was this still something a human could do? The geniuses of Extreme Heaven Pavilion, who were sitting in the VIP seats, gradually lost their fighting spirit and courage. After all, the people of the Black Horse Club were too abnormal. The following words of the sages made the scalps of countless audience members tingle. You should have come to watch the Divination Master competition. That Zhen Dexiu was truly a show-off. Even that old ghost Good Fortune creation was scared. This old man saw him break out in a cold sweat from across the stage. Thinking back to how arrogant he was in the past, seeing him break out in cold sweat because of a junior, it was really King cool. If that Jundok Shui can enter my sword pavilion, he will definitely be a sword saint in the future. That shocking sword strike from the orange grade sword skill in the individual martial arts competition is enough to rank in the top 5 of the previous tournament. If this brat's cultivation is above the first Tribulation Combat Emperor, he will definitely be the champion of the tournament. Orange grade sword skill. Oh my god, each one is more ridiculous than the last. If it wasn't said by the sages, everyone present wouldn't dare to believe it. Seeing so many saints gathered at the arena, the referees who originally wanted to make things difficult for Lin Chen and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. The saints had all come for the Black Horse Club. How dare they refuse to let them participate? There are only 2 hours left. No one can make an exception to the rules of the Grand Assembly. Hurry up. The referees snorted coldly. Lin Chen smiled and led Class 66 into battle, except for Han Xiun and Shangguan Bihan. Whoosh! Yan Qianyun also arrived at the team martial competition venue. Following that, Qin Shaotian personally went to Absolute Heaven Pavilion's camp. Yes, Pavilion Master. Pavilion Master is finally here. F*CK, F*CK the Black Horse Club. Seeing the Pavilion Master arrive, the morale of all the geniuses was greatly boosted. When Qin Shaotian heard everyone's simple summary, his eyes that were originally burning with jealousy became even more murderous. Jian Feng and Ayun were seriously injured by them, and Dai Hua was killed. The more furious Qin Shaotian was, the calmer he appeared. This kind of person was extremely terrifying. His eyes were sharp, and he had already seen the problem. The current Extreme Heaven Pavilion seemed to have only lost 2 or 3 geniuses, but it was actually facing the crisis of disbanding. They were about to face the collapse of confidence. If they couldn't get through this, Extreme Heaven Pavilion's confidence and spirit would completely collapse. Black Horse Club, I've heard a lot about you. The Crescent Moon Sect's young sect master smiled gracefully. Perhaps you will be defeated by our Moon Melody Great Formation. The girl from the Thousand Music Pavilion giggled. As soon as she finished speaking, the geniuses from the Crescent Moon Sect and the Thousand Music Pavilion instantly moved and spread out into a formation like a leisurely bright moon. A melody array? Lin Chen was surprised. 3 afterimages slashed forward like blades. Bai Juanhao flanked from above, while Ying Liang and Gu Chenfeng, one on the left and one on the right, lashed out horizontally with their green dragon arms, not giving the other party a chance to spread out their formation. Bang! Bang! Clang! Sparks flew everywhere and air waves exploded. The 3 of them were forcefully repelled, their battle intent rising. The Crescent Moon sect and the Thousand Music Pavilion were 4th-rank sects, and each side had 5 geniuses. Among these 10, 2 were top experts in the 85,000th genius ranking and were extremely strong. Apart from them, there were also 12 top geniuses. 4 of them from each side blocked by Juanhao and the other 2. Geniuses from 4th-rank sects? Good timing. Ever since I got my arm back, I haven't experienced a carefree battle. Don't disappoint me. Ying Liang and the other 2 were battle maniacs. They were never afraid of fighting, and they actually fought head-on with 4 geniuses in the 94,000th genius ranking. 3 against 4, they still weren't at a disadvantage. The remaining geniuses activated the melody array. Geniuses, please have a taste of our aioli rhythmic attacks. As the representatives from both sides shouted coldly, the 18 people in the melody array played flutes, gyukins, drums, and pipa, turning into waves of sound waves. All Saints' holy light. Poison edge. The palms wrapped in faint holy light and the 10 needles flashing with poison collided with the sound waves. The poison aura dissipated and the palms exploded. The 2 girls were shocked. While their attacks were being crushed, the other party's attacks still charged over. The other party knew the strength of Lin Chen and the others, so they didn't hold back at all. Bang! The sound waves were shattered. The handsome young man leading the Crescent Moon sect had a serious expression. Are you here, Black Horse Club's 7 geniuses? 7 afterimages appeared, and they were Lin Chen and his clones. Rip! An ice arrow turned into an ice phoenix, and the young man swept his guqin, shattering Ling Yueqi's arrow. Whoosh! As the dark tribulation whirlpool spun, the 7 afterimages appeared like ghosts beside the Crescent Moon sex group, and they went all out. 7 changes, mirror of attack, life-splitting light, 7 star flashes. Annihilation, vanishing shadow, 5 forces as one. The azure light beam of annihilation struck, and the mirror-like blade light flashed. The wind from the fists exploded, and the deadly flying daggers and arrows hidden in the dark shot out. With a hiss, the many vicious attacks were instantly deflected by the ripples in the void caused by the sound waves, and were actually dispersed by the counterattack. A clear and pure melody was played, and the notes turned into battle chi, connecting the battle chi of all the geniuses into one. It also brought out the characteristics of their battle chi to the extreme. Those suited for defense were used for defense, while those suited for offense were used for offense. Following that, the rippling sound waves condensed into a transparent sound wave barrier, protecting everyone in the array. Lin Chen and his doppelgangers continued their frenzied attacks, attempting to tear a hole in the defense. This perfect coordination was too fast for many in the audience to take in. It was too fast. The moment they attacked, it was as if the 7 of them were one. Even those veteran experts with sharp eyes couldn't find any fault with it. Chapter 905. Heavenly Flower Shower. Lu Lin Er's slender hands shot out thousands of battle lights that fell from the top of the rhythm formation. While the poison was corroding the battle chi, the holy light was like a golden lotus, and 2 palm prints broke out of the ground. The 2 palms clapped together. Bang! The battle chi palm prints exploded into tens of thousands of ice flowers. The Su sisters condensed countless ice halos and looked at Ling Yueqi. The latter drew her bow, and the power of the sky frost odd crystal fragment skyrocketed. She shot out an arrow with a spinning ice star that illuminated the sky. It was magnificent. When the ice star arrow touched the ice halo, its power increased again. The 2 sisters injected their cold battle chi into the arrow. Boom! The terrifying attack exploded, and energy clouds rose in the sky, but it still couldn't break the defense of the formation. Suddenly, the leading genius swept the zither strings, and countless sound waves condensed into a fingerprint that crushed towards Ling Yueqi. Ling Yueqi's expression froze. She could dodge, but the Su sisters couldn't. Whoosh! Whoosh! 5 golden saber auras slashed out at high speed, cutting off the sonic fingerprints in a flash and shattering them. The other party swept the zither strings again, and the attacks were like a storm. Waves of sword chi, fist auras, and sword lights slashed out one after another. Everyone retreated, and Lin Chen covered them with his clones. Lin Chen stood in front of the 3 girls and asked, "Are you okay?" Ling Yueqi shook her head. Lin Chen stared at the formation and narrowed his eyes. Very strong control of sound waves. It's the first time I've seen such a combination of attack and defense. Apart from some desperate trump cards and not using ultimate moment, Lin Chen's clones couldn't break the other party's defense even after using all their strength. After the ultimate moment level up, I'll need to spend 10 million talent points per minute. If I activate both my main body and my doppelganger, I'll need 60 million talent points at once. With the God-stealing omen talent, I'll need enough talent points at all times. The current ultimate moment talent wasn't like Lin Chen's previous talent. Although the improvement was great, the consumption was also very high. Host has activated passive talent, tier. While Lin Chen was hesitating, the situation seemed to have taken a turn for the better. Jundok Shui slashed the defense of the array, triggering the talent laceration and tearing a crack in it. As expected of the Black Horse Club, they have some skills, but it's not enough. The music of the Crescent Moon Sect and Thousand Music Pavilion changed, with the drums taking the lead and the flute playing as accompaniment. In an instant, the sound of the flute became extremely heavy and low. Before Lin Chen's doppelgangers could break through the gap in their defenses, they had already completely filled it up. This rhythmic array left all the spectators dumbfounded. Who would have thought that even the geniuses of the Black Horse Club couldn't get in? Perfect offense and defense. It's a perfect formation. Under the leadership of all the geniuses, it can withstand the attacks of more than 10 Third Tribulation combat emperors. With the constant flow of battle chi, it can attack and defend continuously. The wider the coverage of the sound wave, the wider the defensive range. A good show is coming. Unless Jundok Shui uses his peerless sword with the help of the other geniuses, it's impossible to break this formation. 2 4th-grade sound Dao sects working together are indeed abnormal. While the audience was amazed, they watched even more attentively. Even Lin Chen had to prepare to use the recharge rune. This group of opponents was very strong. Lin Chen had encountered several cases of the Way of Rhythm in the 9 regions. It was an extremely powerful auxiliary and offensive method. Moreover, it was so unorthodox that it could even be used as a trump card, making it impossible for opponents of the same level to guard against. Unfortunately, the Tao of Rhythm hadn't been developed in the 9 prefectures. There was only one reason. There were very few emperors in the 9 prefectures. To become an emperor in the mortal world, one had to shatter the Battle Chi natal palace, refine the emperor body, and merge it with the heaven and earth. Then, one had to condense the Battle Chi fate wheel. Once they failed, they would die. This condition made it so that very few emperors who were good at rhythm could step into the combat emperor realm. However, the sacred boundary was different. The sacred boundary had many resources such as Silver Saint origin coins. There was no need to gamble one's life to advance to the combat emperor realm. In addition, the sacred boundary had blossomed, and the Tao of Rhythm had been developed. The most obvious thing was that the Tao of Rhythm could be used in group battles. The combat skills, secret techniques, and cultivation methods of the Tao of Rhythm were the most outstanding. No matter if it was attacking, defending, or assisting, it was the most outstanding. We can only fight with brute force. When the time comes. Wait a minute, I found their weakness. Suddenly, Ling Yueqi stopped Lin Chen. A beautiful smile appeared on her cold face. Just when everyone was looking forward to the reappearance of one's sword, one's only, the Black Horse Club suddenly adopted a delaying tactic and began to continuously attack the big formation of the two sects, without making any substantial changes. What's going on? Are they planning to exhaust their opponents until they run out of energy? That's not very realistic. The two sects geniuses who activated the formation can be said to be one with battle chi. No matter how good the Black Horse Club's coordination is, they obviously can't exhaust their opponent. They should end the battle quickly. This is really making me anxious. When is he going to use his orange tier sword skill? The spectators started to get anxious. The doppelgangers were fighting a war of attrition. Yu Linlin and Lu Lin cooperated with the Su sisters to support the doppelgangers and the Dragon Emperor's crazy attack. Damn, what's going on? The sharp-eyed people finally noticed that only Lin Chen and Ling Yueqi, who didn't participate in the battle, had retreated to the side and stood together. What was even more amazing was that Ling Yueqi was lightly stepping on Lin Chen's right shoulder. Her delicate and slender legs were standing on top of the young man's head. At this moment, Lin Chen was doing the same action as Ling Yueqi. He drew his bow and nocked an arrow. The cold and elegant beauty was on top. Her snow-white dress fluttered, and her jade belt flashed. The handsome and wild young man was below. The two of them drew their bows, and their battle chi turned into arrows. One arrow was faintly cold, and the other was surrounded by flames. They were clearly aiming at the two sects formation. What are they doing? What's that posture? They're shooting arrows together? Damn, I'm so happy. I also want the goddess to step on my shoulder and my head. Damn, where did this pervert come from? Quick, look, Lin Chen is shooting. He's shooting so fast. As soon as the voice fell, there was a whoosh. The arrow was like a fiery dragon shuttling through the air. It was as if it had been calculated, and it had just hit the attacking rhythm formation. Insignificant skill. The Black Horse Club is only SOSO. The two sects geniuses were disdainful. They changed their tune and slightly strengthened their defense. Whoosh. Ling Yueqi's ice arrow and Lin Chen's flame arrow were like ice and fire. The ice arrow was launched later but arrived first, freezing the surface of the formation's defense. The Crescent Moon sect's leader's eyes trembled, and his heart skipped a beat. Could it be bang? The flame arrow that arrived later actually penetrated the formation and penetrated inside, almost hitting the third leg of a genius. Although it didn't hit the target directly, it ignited a raging fire between the legs of the genius, burning him with a pungent smell of cumin. The audience was shocked. It actually broke through the formation? It's on fire. Grilled sausage? He's burning. He's so hot. Chapter 906. Everyone's attention was focused on the final stage of the team martial arts competition. Rumble. I want to see who gave this mere mortal the guts and courage to touch my son, Ji Wutian. Don't be in such a hurry. That kid's life is mine. The secret pavilion sent a message. I want to see what kind of person killed my grandson. 3 more saints had arrived at Wanri Square. Everyone, calm down. Once the event ends, it will be time for us to get rid of this kid. I heard that he also has 2 spiritual plants of providence. This kid is extremely rich. At this moment, the void twisted, and 3 black-robed men stepped out of the 3 shadows. They were assassins from the secret pavilion. 2 spiritual plants of providence? The event isn't over yet. The secret pavilion wants to use us as tools? The 3 saints had different attitude. The black-robed man in the lead smiled. You don't have to worry. We're just helping and using each other. This kid hasn't revealed himself yet. If he has an extraordinary background and the faction behind him shows up, we can be on the same side. If he doesn't, then we'll rely on our own abilities. How many saints from the secret pavilion are here today? one of the saints sneered. The former chuckled. Other than the 2 elders, the pavilion master, 5 grand elders, and the patriarch of the secret pavilion are here. This answer made the 3 saints solemn. Damn it, the secret pavilion was serious. They had sent 7 saints to deal with a war emperor? Even the patriarch of the secret pavilion was here. This was equivalent to using more than 80% of the power of a rank 4 sect. They would either get the ancient saints' inheritance and find a new place to develop, or they would be suppressed by the top factions of the mystic realm. Other than that, there are 4 rank 3 factions. If we include these 3, we have a total of 16 saints. 16 saints. Even a battle as strong as the saints of the Holy World did not require such a lineup. Not to mention that there were 7 assassins from the secret pavilion who were proficient in assassination. Every single one of these 16 saints was enough to crush the current Black Horse Club, but they weren't afraid of the young man Lin Chun. No matter how strong the War Emperor was, there was a limit to his strength. He might be able to rely on some special trump cards to contend with a Saint Realm expert, but as long as he did not become a Saint Realm expert, he would be nothing more than an ant in front of a Saint Realm expert. If any Saint Realm expert were to engage in a prolonged battle with him, he would die without a doubt. The sage's wisdom had long seen through this. What they cared about was whether the Black Horse Club had enough experts and power behind it. If there wasn't, they were determined to get the ancient sage's legacy. Odd crystals were always one of the most sought-after sources of power in the sacred boundary and were extremely rare. What did it mean to obtain its cultivation method? This meant that it was enough for a rank 4 sect to ascend to rank 5. Even a rank 6 was possible. You've come at the right time. Today, this old man wants to see just how monstrous a genius with the title of deity descending is. The 3 newly arrived saints and the hidden pavilion immediately came to an agreement and rushed to the team martial competition venue. At this moment, the leading genius of the Crescent Moon sect looked extremely ugly as the fire between his junior brother's legs was finally extinguished. The other party had already discovered the weakness of their formation. To be precise, this weakness originated from the 2 sects' geniuses and was not a flaw in the formation. Although the Crescent Moon sect and the Thousand Sound Pavilion were both Music Dao Grade 4 forces, and the representatives this time were the top geniuses of the 2 sections. Needless to say, they were not disciples of the same sect, and there would be a slight gap between the changes in the formation. And this gap was the only fatal weakness, and it depended on the degree of tacit understanding between the 2 parties. The previous geniuses were all pressured by this formation to the point that they couldn't breathe. Because the harmony and coordination between the tunes was almost flawless, no one discovered this clue. Lin Yueqi, on the other hand, used Lin Chen's clones to take turns to attack and saw this clue. At the moment when the formation launched its attack, she first let Lin Chen make a feint, and then let her ice arrow hit first, freezing the gap in the formation. Naturally, Lin Chen's attack was broken in one fell swoop. Lin Yueqi and Lin Chen didn't give the other party any time to breathe. After the arrow hit the target, the 2 of them assumed the posture of an immortal couple drawing their bows. Their clones and the rest of the geniuses were tangled in the formation, and they took the opportunity to shoot another arrow. The 2 arrows, ice and fire, arrived in an instant. With a bang, the formation was broken again. The geniuses of the 2 sects were drenched in cold sweat. Every time they repaired the formation, they had to consume a huge amount of battle chi. If this continued, they would lose sooner or later. That's Lin Chen? Interesting. A body refinement realm comparable to a second tribulation combat emperor? Heaven ascension realm mental energy? He's just SOSO. At this moment, the 3 saints who had just arrived saw the battle and were disdainful of Lin Chen. Judging from the cultivation he revealed on the surface, he was at most ranked 90,000 on the genius ranking. He wasn't worth mentioning. No, we can't continue fighting like this. Remove the formation and fight with them, the leading genius of the Crescent Moon sect shouted. The disciples of the two sects looked at each other and removed the formation. Black Horse Club, we'll fight with you. The moment the formation was removed, the entire Black Horse Club went berserk. Everyone took out 3 flying daggers. In a flash, the 3 flying daggers slashed out at an extreme speed. Moon of speed. 7-star slash. 7 forces combine into 1, 9 moves of the Fighting Emperor. Everyone's expression changed drastically. After using the Vanishing Shadow flying dagger triple combo, they could still unleash such a fierce attack? F***ck that Lin Chen. It's the ultimate skill of my grandson. The Ji family saint was so angry that he went berserk on the spot. This was the ultimate skill of his grandson, Ji Wutian, the Vanishing Shadow flying dagger. Now that he saw it being used by the enemy who killed his grandson, it was already good enough that he didn't punch him. Bang! Bang! Rip! The dagger flashed like the moon, and the sword flashed like the stars. The roaring dragon's power shattered the defenses of all the geniuses. When the flying daggers flashed past, all the defenses of the two sects' geniuses were pierced through like paper. We admit defeat. The leading genius of the Crescent Moon sect paled, but he realized that it was already too late to shout surrender. Whoosh! The golden dagger flashed slightly and didn't attack anyone. Instead, it landed in the hands of the Black Horse Club members. The Ji family's ancestors' eyes trembled when he saw this. This Vanishing Shadow flying dagger's technique and control were much stronger than Ji Wutian's. Your Excellency Lin Chen, the geniuses of the Crescent Moon sect looked at Lin Chen with fear and gratitude. It's rumored that the Black Horse Club kills without batting an eye. It seems like it's just a rumor. Thank you for showing mercy. The leading genius of the Crescent Moon sect bowed deeply and cupped his fists at Lin Chen. It was impossible to retract such a flying dagger technique in the nick of time. There was only one reason why it could be retracted. The Black Horse Club didn't intend to kill them from the start. You must be joking. It was just a spur of the moment. I don't hold back when I kill people. Lin Chen smiled. His cultivation wasn't the same as before, and killing the two geniuses didn't drop too many attribute light balls. These people didn't have any grudges with him, so there was no need to kill them all. Thank you for not killing us. The youth of the Crescent Moon sect threw a storage ring over. Lin Chen checked it, and not only did it contain 10,000 silver Saint Origin coins, but there was also an odd crystal fragment. So generous. Do these people want to befriend me? Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh. Right at this moment, he let out a furious roar, bursting with holy might. Lin Chen, thief, are you the one who killed my Ji family's two geniuses? I'll give you a chance now. Follow me back to the Ji family's ancestral altar and kneel for 1,000 years. Otherwise, die. The one who spoke was the Ji family's ancestor. The geniuses of the two sects turned pale. They couldn't resist the might of a saint, and their legs trembled as they knelt down. Lin Chen and his clones stood in front of the two geniuses, and everyone felt the pressure of the saint aura decrease by a large portion. Under everyone's gaze, Lin Chen's lips curled into a cold smile. F***ck, old man. Your son of a bitch attacked a woman and even teamed up. I can't wait to kill them a few more times. You're not convinced? Come on. Come and kill me now. Everyone was silent. Chapter 907. The geniuses of the two sects standing behind Lin Chen were shocked inwardly. Was he still a war emperor cultivation? He could actually resist holy pressure? The pressure of a holy pressure was enough to suppress the vast majority of war emperors. The absolute crushing brought about by the difference in life level was virtually without too much resistance ability. The fear born from life instinct was enough to suppress countless war emperors. But Lin Chen was someone who had fought a life-and-death battle with holy prison's criminals. A mere low-level holy pressure could not suppress him. He was not even afraid of Dark Pavilion's old ancestor. A G family's old ancestor was definitely not a problem. You? G family's old ancestor was furious. Two figures blocked in front of him. Ji Qingming attacked my palace's successor. Old monster Ji, how do you explain this? It was Iceheart Palace's palace master and grand elder. Or are you planning to make a move against this little guy here? The old woman sneered. Ji family's old ancestor was exasperated. Ji Hashan, this isn't a place for you to be impudent. A voice full of majesty transmitted down from the void. Ji family's old ancestor's anger was immediately doused. As Saint Azure? A figure descended from the void, wearing green clothes and a long beard, with an immortal-like demeanor. It was precisely Saint Azure who entrusted Lin Chen. It's actually Saint Azure, his elderly self, who is in charge of the team martial competition. My God. I can actually still see Saint Azure's true self in my lifetime. I can die without regrets. The audience exclaimed repeatedly. Saint Azure's gaze turned and landed on Dark Pavilion's old ancestor. Old fellow, long time no see. Dark Pavilion's old ancestor said calmly, It's been 100,000 years, it's also not very long, right? Your old bones won't live for long. You'll probably be buried one step ahead of me. Saint Azure smiled. Hoo-hoo, that might not be the case. I didn't expect that so many old faces would gather because of a group of juniors. It's really rare. Dark Pavilion's old ancestor raised his brows. Why? You want to protect them? Saint Azure shook his head. All the forces in the four-way convention intended to hold a convention to temper their own geniuses and were absolutely not in a united state. After the convention ended, each would perform their own duties, and there would even be fierce competition for interests between them. After the convention ended, there would definitely be a storm unfolding around Lin Chen. Saint Azure announced, This old man announces that the Black Horse Club has advanced to the top 4. Semi-finals, Black Horse Club vs. Absolute Heaven Pavilion. Participants, please take a rest first. The competition will begin later. Lin Chen raised his hand and laughed mockingly. Senior Saint Azure is too courteous. In order not to delay everyone's time, let the heaven-severing pavilion take the field now. Lin Chen's words stirred up 1,000 waves, and the audience started a new round of heated discussions. Wasn't this too arrogant? He had fought 2 battles in a row, and his opponent was the team of 2 great 4th-rank sects. The second battle in a row was against Absolute Heaven Pavilion? There should be a limit to looking down on others. Mo Jingchen's murderous aura leaked out. Words are like water. Lin Chen, you won't have the chance to regret it. Absolute Heaven Pavilion's Qin Xiaotian had long since stepped into the battle arena. Although his expression was calm, his eyes burned with monstrous fury. If you can't even do this, you don't have the qualifications to be my Absolute Heaven Pavilion's opponent. Lin Chen shrugged his shoulders. I didn't take you to be some destined opponent. You're just a piece of trash that I can take care of in passing. Rumble. All of Absolute Heaven Pavilion's members entered the arena, their momentum grand and murderous aura overflowing. Lin Chen infuriated all of Absolute Heaven Pavilion's members with just one sentence. Although there was no Xia Jianfeng, Xiao Qianyun, and Lian Daihua, Absolute Heaven Pavilion's lineup was still terrifyingly powerful. Both sides entered the arena. Lin Chen raised his brows at Bai Juanhao and the rest. How is it? Do you want to go down and rest? Class monitor, I can also beat them up by myself. Do you all want to go to the side and drink tea or continue? Some young prodigies gnashed their teeth in anger. This kid was also too arrogant. One person could also beat them up? Could you beat the entire Absolute Heaven Pavilion by yourself? Big brother, you're treating us too much like outsiders here. We can still fight. That's right. If we don't fight when there's a fight, that's too unworthy of our Class 60 SXS reputation. Class monitor, let's make things clear first. Gu Donglu will definitely mess with them today. Remember to leave a chrysanthemum behind. Bai Juanhao, Ying Liang, and the other two snickered. Yu Linlin and Lu Lin stood beside Lin Chen. Ling Yueqi was needless to say. The moment both sides were on the same stage, the atmosphere was fiery to the extreme, on the verge of breaking out. Since both sides have no problems, then let the competition continue. Saint Azure waved his hand. Ripples appeared in the space, solidifying a brand new spatial barrier, and the barrier spread out again. He personally set up a spatial barrier, leaving enough space for the young people. They're fighting again so soon. This is too arrogant. The Black Horse Club is waging an all-out war against Absolute Heaven Pavilion. It's really exciting. Who's the king? I feel like it's Absolute Heaven Pavilion. Absolute Heaven Pavilion's genius role geniuses added up are more than 3 rank 4 sects combined. The audience was in a heated discussion. Both sides faced each other and set up their battle formation. On the Black Horse Club's side there were Bai Juanhao and the other two, Ling Yueqi and Su Lan, Yu Linlin and the other two, plus Lin Chen's 5 clones, the Dragon Emperor and Lin Chen himself. A total of 15 people. Although Absolute Heaven Pavilion was missing Xia Jianfeng, Xiao Qianyun, and Lian Daihua, all the geniuses plus the pavilion master made a total of 19 people. 3 of them couldn't fight, plus the fallen Ji Wutian. Absolute Heaven Pavilion also had 15 people. This was bound to be a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. Mystic Realm and Xuanyu's genius sects were going to fight head-on. Lin Chen, if you lose, I won't forgive you. Yan Qianyun cheered for Lin Chen outside the arena. Qin Xiaotian no longer had his usual elegant appearance. He only had a sinister desire to kill Lin Chen. Semi-finals, Black Horse Club vs. Absolute Heaven Pavilion, begin. As soon as the referee finished speaking, Qin Xiaotian's palm was like a dragon, overbearing and crushing. Lin Chen instantly used the 7 layers transformation. 9 tribulations battle chi revolved around his body, and a fist flickering with golden tribulation mysterious handle violently struck out. A fist of 7 forces as one blasted towards Qin Xiaotian. Bang! A shocking collision sound suddenly exploded. Both sides retreated, as if they were evenly matched. Rip! Bang! Bang! Both sides instantly started fighting. Lin Chen's doppelgangers directly attacked the root of the problem, and suddenly rushed towards Mo Jingchen. Jundok Shuai's sword slashed horizontally at the waist. Mo Jingchen took out a dark gray halberd and swung it at the sword. Mo Jingchen's halberd fiercely smashed back, but was blocked by Jundok Shuai's sword. The Dragon Emperor maintained his human form, but his strength broke through 10,000 technique. His fists danced, and his entire body was covered in dragon scales. The people of Absolute Heaven Pavilion couldn't even touch him in a one-on-one duel. Bai Juanhao transformed into an azure dragon, and angrily swept in all directions, breathing out dragon breath. Lu Lin used poison gas as support, and cooperated with Yu Linlin. The Su sisters were responsible for covering Ling Yueqi, and she was able to suppress them even when fighting 1 against 2. The chaotic battle instantly started. In the center of the field, Lin Chen and Qin Xiaotian took turns to attack each other in close combat. That's all there is to it. Lin Chen, take out your damaged Saint Blade. Otherwise, you'll definitely die. When the two separated after dozens of rounds, Qin Xiaotian laughed wildly. 8 exquisite and dazzling lights shone above his head. It was extremely gorgeous, and the dazzling light covered the entire field. The Sage Realm experts present couldn't help but exclaim at the Sage Realm aura that suppressed eternity. A sage weapon? Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Above Qin Xiaotian's head, an 8-colored exquisite pagoda was spinning rapidly, emitting a brilliant sage aura. That was the light that only a complete sage weapon would have. Chapter 908. The 8-colored, exquisite pagoda appeared above Qin Shaotian's head in a flash. It spun at an extremely fast speed and landed in his palm. The pressure it released from the sacred artifact was even stronger than the azure bright moon that Lin Chen had used earlier. Ha! Lin Chen, you didn't expect this, right? Do you know why I was late for the team competition? It was to prepare this trump card. No matter if you can control a Tier 8 saber or sword, you will still die. Qin Shaotian laughed maniacally. The 8-colored, exquisite pagoda in his palm suddenly rose into the sky and rapidly enlarged thousands of times. Na Xing! Qin Shaotian's hand seals suddenly changed, and the 8 treasures' exquisite pagoda erupted with a suction force, sucking everyone in the arena into it. Positioning successful. Host has set the current spatial location to position 4. The moment the system screen popped up, Lin Chen and the rest were transported into the pagoda's space. The pagoda was surrounded by an abandoned city, but it was surrounded by raging flames. These flames were not ordinary flames. They could even easily burn a battle emperor's battle aura. We've been transported to another space. There's an attack. Be careful. Ying Liang and Bai Juanhao cried out in alarm and moved to block the 4 sword beams. A group of people stood in the air. They were from Extreme Heaven Pavilion. There's an attribute light ball. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. From above the abandoned city, he could vaguely see an attribute light that only he could see flickering in the blurry space. Boom! The abandoned city was set ablaze, forming a purple sea of fire. The temperature was extremely high, and everyone had to use their battle aura to resist the high temperature. Attack, attack with all your might. With Mo Jingchen's command, all the geniuses from Extreme Heaven Pavilion attacked from the sky. They had the advantage of time, place, and people. Lin Chen and the rest had to resist the purple flames and their attacks. For a moment, Lin Chen and the rest were at a disadvantage. Outside the pagoda in the arena, the 8-colored, exquisite pagoda stood there for a long time. The audience watched the fierce battle in the pagoda through the projection of the windows. It's indeed the Qin family's 8 treasures, exquisite pagoda. It's a first-grade sage artifact. That's not right. Qin Shaotian is only at the peak of second tribulation. How can he control a complete sage artifact? It's the bloodline. The 8 treasures jewel pagoda has been refined by the elders of the Qin clan for more than 1,000 years and has already been planted with a bloodline restriction. Apart from the Qin clan's bloodline, no one can use it. He is just borrowing the power of his ancestors' bloodline to forcefully use this sacred weapon. The sages saw through the clues at a glance. Saint Azure's expression changed slightly. Originally, the Heaven-Severing Pavilion and the Black Horse Club's chances of winning were not high. But with this 8 treasures exquisite pagoda, the situation was completely different. The 8 treasures exquisite pagoda contains 88 types of formations. Those who absorb them can almost refine their opponents to death. With Qin Shaotian's strength, he can only use the first few basic formations. He can't even use 1% of the sacred artifact's strength. Even so, he can completely exhaust everyone in the Black Horse Club, not to mention the group of geniuses from Absolute Heaven Pavilion. Lin Chen and the others are going to lose. The Sage Realm's supreme experts speculated the final result. Almost no one was optimistic that Lin Chen and the others would be able to break out of the pagoda. A sage tool was still a sage tool no matter how weak it was, and it was extremely difficult to surpass the disparity between them since Qin Shaotian was able to control a sage tool. Saint Azure's expression was solemn. Could it be that this old man really has to personally take action to stop those few young dragons from obtaining the Dragon God Blood Jade? No matter who won or lost, after this battle, the Heaven-Severing Pavilion and the Black Horse Club would definitely lose the strength to contend with the Dragon Race geniuses. His commission could not be completed. Inside the exquisite pagoda, The attacks in the pagoda were all aimed at Lin Chun and the others, while the heaven-severing pavilion even launched an encirclement formation. No wonder this Qin Shaotian took so long to appear on stage. It turned out that he returned to his family first to borrow this great killing weapon before participating. Lin Chun punched out with extreme speed, frantically urging the 7 extremes force and also erupting with the annihilation attack. The spiritual impact destroyed the attacks of the geniuses like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. "Monitor, what do we do next?" Yu Linlin asked. Everyone did not panic and followed Lin Chen's lead. "Just fight. You guys are responsible for delaying them. I'll go out and finish off that Qin Shaotian. Remember, you guys have to act more realistically later. The more exhausted you look, the better. As long as you lure out the heaven-severing pavilion's people, the threat of this pagoda is nothing to worry about." With a thought, a faint purple brilliance flashed. All the clones activated Extreme Origin Restoration, and the offense changed, unfolding a circular formation with the clones as the center. With the clones outside and everyone inside, Lin Chen's clones became the main force to resist all the attack. He continued to activate the Extreme Origin Restoration talent, letting everyone preserve their strength as much as possible. Consumed 32.5 million elementary talent points, activating super-dimensional talent. Host is teleported to space number 4. Swoosh. Lin Chen turned into a spatial stream of light and actually disappeared from the space inside the pagoda. Whoosh. Spatial light descended from the sky. Lin Chen actually appeared in the battle arena again. What? This little guy came out of the 8 treasures exquisite pagoda? What a shocking kid. The space inside the pagoda is in a completely sealed state. Without the means of a saint, one can't come out at all. The moment Lin Chen returned to the battle arena, Qin Shaotian wasn't surprised at all. "Indeed, you have some ability. Only someone like you is worthy of being my Extreme Heaven Pavilion's opponent." Qin Shaotian jumped down from the top of the pagoda. The two of them stood opposite each other. His shoulders trembled as his peak second tribulation War Emperor cultivation was revealed. He swept up a gust of wind and swept towards Lin Chen. 6 different parts of his body flickered with brilliance that resembled starlight, and dazzling divine light circulated around them. 6 odd crystal fragments? Good fellow, no wonder he's ranked 76555 on the genius list, Qin Shaotian. He's on a completely different level compared to us geniuses in the top 80,000. Many of the geniuses on the genius list exclaimed. "Just 6 odd crystal fragments and you think you're amazing?" Lin Chen laughed mockingly. As soon as he said that, Lin Chen's body was surrounded by a green brilliance, and his silver robe fluttered without any wind. The geniuses who participated in the group battle earlier were stunned. Rays of starlight rose from the youth's body one after another, and there were more and more of them. 5 to 8, 10, 12? Damn, how the hell did he do it? The geniuses on the genius list gasped. 12 odd crystal fragments were absorbed into one body at the same time? Was this still a 9th-level War Emperor? They had never seen such a monstrous 9th-level War Emperor. The difficulty was no less than refining and absorbing a complete odd crystal. The geniuses on the genius list, who were ranked 80,000 or 90,000, had to rely on their seniors to help them refine 1 or 2 odd crystal fragments. In Lin Chen's body, there were a total of 12 rays of starlight. It was extremely dazzling, and it made his aura rise steadily. In fact, Lin Chen had already refined 10 odd crystal fragments in the ancient sacred hall, and the number of odd crystal fragments he obtained in the 4 Directions Conference was actually more. But he didn't refine all of them. Most of them were broken down into special attribute values to create a killing move, because his vision was no longer limited to competing with the younger generation. What awaited him was the pursuit of the sages. 12 odd crystal fragments. Qin Shaotian laughed sinisterly, but in the next moment, there was an owl-like guguguz sound coming from his throat. Red light flashed, and Lin Chen held the red war spear with one hand. The aura flowing in the war spear was infinitely close to that of a sacred weapon. Lin Chen laughed coldly. "Come on, Pavilion Master Qin, I'm in a hurry. After I'm done with you, I still have to beat the next group." Chapter 909. Boom. A crimson light that was like a dragon smashed down like a half-moon. The hammer's shadow was like a raging wave that blocked the spear light. The hammer's shadow flipped over and smashed down on Lin Chen's head. Qin Shaoyan's hammer light exploded into a sinister hurricane that seemed to be able to easily penetrate the bones as it poured down on Lin Chen. The dragon power condensed as Lin Chen held the spear with both hands and lifted it up. The crimson spear tip tore through the sinister hurricane and collided with the hammer light head-on. Clang! Lin Chen's huge hammer, which was filled with power, was easily deflected by the spear tip. Lin Chen strode forward like a shooting star, quickly flashing around Qin Shaotian and launching a sudden attack from all directions. The spear's shadow was like 100 dazzling flowers, the spear tip twisting and stabbing forward at extreme speed. Clang clang clang! Qin Shaotian waved his peak rank 7 weapon Sky Destroyer hammer with both arms. Under the series of spear shadows, the odd crystal fragments on his body bloomed brighter and brighter, but he could only defend for a moment. His pure strength has more than doubled from before. Damn it, what kind of secret technique is this? Qin Shaotian cursed in his heart. He was suppressed by Lin Chen head-on. He, who was ranked 76555, could only passively defend against Lin Chen's continuous attacks. Fury Cloud Shocking Slaughter! A hammer light suddenly tore through the waves of hammer shadows. It was overbearing and majestic. The hammer print that was hundreds of feet large was like a hammer that could shatter mountains and rivers. It was burning with blood flames and clouds as it attacked Lin Chen head-on. Third style of Dohuang Blood Shura. Lin Chen's blood and qi gathered like a dragon. With the Black Gang Golden Calamity Battle Qi as the core, the crimson light spear struck out and the hammer print shook the entire space. Swish! Qin Shaotian was extremely fast. He used a fire attribute footwork and rushed to Lin Chen's left side in an instant. He raised his hammer to counterattack Lin Chen. Rip! Boom! The hammer missed and Qin Shaotian's expression changed slightly. Afterimage! Boom! Qin Shaotian's spear shot out like a dragon. The nearly complete 8th grade Saint Artifact's sharpness soared to the heavens, transforming into a lightning dragon. Qin Shaotian was forced to raise his hammer to block, but the lightning dragon's explosion caused arcs of electricity to flicker wildly. His entire body's battle qi was corroded by the Thunder Tribulation battle qi. Whoosh! Lin Chen appeared behind him like a ghost and smiled evilly. "When it comes to the back, my Black Horse Club is much better than you." The 58.9 million dragon power points condensed into 7 dragon-like forces and punched towards Qin Shaotian's back with the 7 forces in one. Triggered assault talent. 50% increase in damage. Bang! With Qin Shaotian's defensive skill shattered, Lin Chen once again aggressively attacked. He spun the crimson battle spear in his hand and practically suppressed Qin Shaotian the entire time. Mental Cosmic Sword. Annihilation. The 2 mental attacks collided with a loud bang, and the one with the mental annihilation energy was stronger. It directly tore apart the mental star sword and ruthlessly bombarded Qin Shaotian's body. His spiritual sea suddenly shook, and a snow-white necklace flashed in front of his chest. The spiritual light protected him. Even so, he was still shaken until his face turned pale. My cosmic spiritual secret technique is of the highest quality of the purple grade. My mental state is also of the heavenly completion state, just like his. There's not much difference between us. Why is he so much stronger than me? He couldn't accept it. Why was Lin Chen's mental attack so powerful? After the evolution of the purple-green path understanding fruit in the ancient sage palace, Lin Chen's annihilation technique was of the half-orange grade. To put it bluntly, the growth and benefits that the purple-green path understanding fruit had brought to Lin Chen were too great. The half-orange grade annihilation had inherited the +13 enhancement level and the power of the ultimate moment. It was infinitely close to an orange grade mental attack technique. With this little guy's mental power of the heavenly completion state, he can unleash such a terrifying mental attack. I'm afraid it's at least a half-orange grade technique. The Black Horse Club is indeed a monster. Just a casual move and it's already a half-orange grade technique. The two saints who were experts in the field of mental power spoke with envy and amazement. Even as strong as they were, they didn't have a half-orange grade mental attack technique. Such techniques were too rare and priceless. Inside the battle arena, Lin Chen's hand seals changed. Mental annihilation energy surged rapidly between his eyebrows. When it burst out, it turned into a blue beam of mental light that shot across the sky. Lin Chen unleashed another round of annihilation, forcing Qin Shaotian to once again use his secret soul technique. Passive talent triggered, tear. The host's attack tears the opponent's defense. This time, the beam of annihilation broke through Qin Shaotian's defense and rushed into his spiritual sea, causing him to spit out blood. This kind of mental attack shook him to the point that he was dizzy, and even his spiritual sea was almost blown up into the sky. Waves of mental warmth entered his spiritual sea, stabilizing and healing Qin Shaotian's mental bridge. His face was full of disbelief. He actually broke through the silver snake pendant's mental defense that my mother left for me. How is this possible? If it wasn't for the ancient snake soul that my mother left me, I'm afraid I would have been paralyzed just now. Lin Chen's annihilation was difficult to use. Even he couldn't use it 3 times in a row within a short period of time. Before Qin Shaotian could recover from his shock, Lin Chen used the 7 ultimate pulling technique and used his dragon power to drag the air current, forcefully pulling Qin Shaotian over. Lin Chen immediately stabbed with his spear. Qin Shaotian gritted his teeth. While resisting Lin Chen's pure strength, he was forced to swing his hammer again. Many of the audience were stunned. They thought it would be a fierce battle, but they didn't expect Lin Chen to single-handedly suppress Qin Shaotian. Although Lin Chen's cultivation wasn't as good as Qin Shaotian's, he was at the ultimate moment. His dragon power points could temporarily break through from 37.5 million to 58.9 million. His pure strength was comparable to a peak Third Tribulation combat emperor. His buff was enough to make up for the difference in cultivation. In terms of weapons, Qin Shaotian's Sky Destroyer hammer was only at the peak of 7th stage. His was an 8th stage weapon embryo. Even if it couldn't unleash much of its power, it was enough to suppress the former. In terms of mental cultivation, Qin Shaotian's mental cultivation technique was half-orange grade. However, Lin Chen's 9 tribulations of creation had more than 10 points in every element. That was equivalent to 1 billion points in mid-level attribute. The power of his mental cultivation technique was close to half-orange grade. The increase in level made Lin Chen's mental cultivation technique comparable to the geniuses who were ranked over 70,000. In terms of martial arts, Lin Chen could suppress most of Qin Shaotian's martial arts with just the 7 ultimate forces and the 10 moves of the Do Huang. This was because all of his martial arts had the ability to strengthen his power and increase his power to the maximum. Rumble. Qin Shaotian was pushed back again. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The two of them had only fought for over 100 rounds, but Qin Shaotian was already covered in wounds. It was a shocking sight. If it was before the tournament of the 4 powers, this guy would definitely be a strong opponent for me. I might even have to use a lot of runes to take him down. Now that my elemental attributes and pure strength have skyrocketed, and I have an 8th stage weapon embryo, I can defeat him at the ultimate moment. Lin Chen's heart was filled with pride. Very good, what a good Lin Chen. I, Qin Xiaotian, admit that I might not be a match for you in a one-on-one battle. Qin Xiaotian's expression was gloomy. He actually took the initiative to admit defeat. Chapter 9-10. Maybe Qin Xiaotian was still holding back, but he could see that Lin Chen was indeed stronger than him. Lin Chen's strength was close to the 70,000th genius list ceiling. I never fight a battle that I'm not confident in. The 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda is like that, and it's the same now. You don't have a chance because I'm not alone. While Qin Xiaotian was laughing, the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda behind him suddenly shone with holy light. More than 10 light pillars shot out from the top of the pagoda and landed on the ground. It was all the geniuses of Extreme Heaven Pavilion. Pavilion Master, I didn't expect you to be forced to this extent by him. Mo Jingchen saw Qin Xiaotian's sorry state and was shocked and fearful. The guy in the pagoda is already an arrow at the end of its flight. I didn't expect their fierce resistance, but it's only a matter of time before they are exhausted to death. As long as we deal with him, the competition will be over. Qin Xiaotian pointed at Lin Chen. All the geniuses of Extreme Heaven Pavilion were filled with killing intent and locked onto Lin Chen. Boom boom boom. Sword aura soared into the sky, and the saber aura was fierce. Streaks of battle chi filled the sky. The 15 people of Extreme Heaven Pavilion stood in the air, and each genius burst forth with their strongest power. Some of them were bathed in tens of thousands of lightning bolts, and their eyes were bursting with lightning. Some stood with swords, and their swords flowed with sharpness that soared into the sky endlessly. Some held their sabers and didn't attack, but once they did, the sky would collapse. Some blew melodies to increase and recover the battle chi of all the geniuses. Some held sickles and hooks, and their bodies erupted with a deathly aura that extinguished all life. Some flickered with golden light, and the undying holy aura covered the top of their heads. It was as though the emperor was personally leading an expedition, and every move contained the power of the emperor. Or perhaps, everyone's body was flowing with the light of odd crystal fragments, and their power was like a raging wave that could destroy anything in their path. They surrounded Lin Chen and condensed their strongest attack. Seeing this, many geniuses on the genius list suddenly stood up. No one expected the situation to develop into such a situation. Only Lin Chen was left, and he was going to fight 15 people by himself? Challenging the entire Extreme Heaven Pavilion? The 15 of them surrounded Lin Chen, combining their power and strength. They didn't move, but once they did, they shook the heavens and earth. Lin Chen was alone and helpless, and the Black Horse Club was trapped in the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. It seemed that the situation before him could only be reversed by him alone. Despair, deep despair. Most of the geniuses on the genius ranking could feel the despair on the stage. A single person challenging the entire Absolute Heaven Pavilion. This was completely impossible. Even the top 70,000 geniuses on the genius ranking had a high chance of being defeated. Of the 15 participants from Absolute Heaven Pavilion, 6 of them were ranked around 92,000 on the genius list, 3 were ranked around 86,000, and 4 were ranked 82,000. Vice Pavilion Master Mo Jingchen was ranked 80001 on the genius ranking. Pavilion Master Qin Xiaotian, ranked 76555 on the genius ranking. Even many geniuses from rank 4 sects were inferior to some of these geniuses. It was truly hopeless for a single person to fight against such a lineup. What a pity! If the Black Horse Club could have a fair confrontation with Absolute Heaven Pavilion, they would definitely have a chance to win. I really can't accept it. I can't see Jundok Shuai's extraordinary orange tier sword skill clash with Absolute Heaven Pavilion again. There are only winners and losers in history. There aren't so many regrets. It was because Qin Shaotian predicted this unexpected situation that he used his ancestral bloodline to suppress Zhen Dang's group. At this moment, almost everyone in the audience was talking about Lin Chen and the Black Horse Club's problems and regret. In their eyes, Lin Chen's defeat was already a fact. Ha 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 ha. No one had expected that Lin Chen would actually raise his head to the sky and laugh maniacally. Thousands of geniuses on the genius ranking felt their scalps tingle. He could still laugh in this situation? What the hell was wrong with him? Only Qin Shaotian was frowning. In this situation where he had the absolute advantage, he actually felt a little uneasy because of Lin Chen's wild laughter. He was rarely wrong about people. Lin Chen was definitely not an arrogant person, but he was laughing so happily. Could it be things went back to 10 breaths ago? Inside the 8 treasures' exquisite pagoda. Class monitor, as you expected, they've all gone out. Lin smiled slyly. Lin Chen's clones suddenly raised their heads and stared at the spatial barrier above them. Everyone, follow me and attack with all your might. Attack the spatial barrier above the pagoda. Jundok Shui roared. The sword in his hand flashed, and he switched from the meridian sword to the divine sword, Atlas. Zhen Dang's black coat fluttered, and the dragon glory in his hand was switched to Azure Moon. Host's clone has activated the ultimate moment talent, consuming 60 million elementary talent points. With a flash of green light, the aura of the 5 people rose steadily. Ling Yueqi and the other girls immediately prepared their strongest attacks. Sword Fury Sky, Mirror Moon Imperial God, Triple Vanishing Shadows, Azure Dragon Sword. Sword Aura flashed, and arrow shadows soared into the sky. The dragon tail turned into a sword, and the arrow shadows shuttled back and forth. Poison gas filled the sky, and a holy light palm print rose into the sky. At this moment, the clones and everyone gathered their strongest attack. All the power they had accumulated before was poured into this attack. The ones with the strongest power were Sword Fury Sky and Mirror Moon Imperial God. The rank 8 sword and saber slashed out. Even the charging and piercing runes were added to the attack. The sword and saber had surpassed the half-orange grade and were at the level of an orange grade ultimate technique. Bang! The sword aura slashed and the sword aura flashed. Countless attacks led by Sword Fury Sky Piercing and Moon Mirror Imperial God blew up the space barrier in the tower, tearing open a space crack of 10 feet in size. The last clone, Zhen Dezhang, charged up instantly and pushed his speed to the limit. He turned into a dark light that twisted space and shuttled in. The spatial barrier had just been torn open, but it healed in half a breath's time. This attack did not attract Qin Shaotian's attention at all. First, Qin Shaotian was not the master of the divine artifact. He was only barely able to use the 8 treasures' exquisite pagoda with his bloodline power and the help of his family's Saint Plane. Second, Qin Shaotian was not a Saint Plane. Unless there was a Saint-level large-scale internal attack, he would only be able to notice the small spatial tear in the pagoda if he was paying attention at all times. Unfortunately, his attention was all on Lin Chen at that moment. The moment Zhen Dezhang broke through the spatial barrier, he left the abandoned city created by the illusion and arrived at a colorful space. No one other than the master of the divine artifact could see this space. Normally, if the master of the pagoda used the pagoda, he would hide this space well. But Qin Shaotian was barely able to control it. He did not have the ability to hide this space. His family's ancestor even thought that he was only taking it as a precaution. He did not expect to find such a secret space after tearing open the spatial barrier. In the colorful space, an 8-colored crystal floated in the center. This crystal was the control center of the 8 treasures' exquisite pagoda. However, Zhen Dezhang's eyes did not pay attention to the 8-colored crystal at all. Instead, he was looking at the large number of elemental light balls floating in the colorful space. Chapter 9:11. At this moment, there were at least 1,000 attribute light balls floating in this dazzling space. There were also dozens of attribute treasure chests and 3 orange crystal treasure chests. Host has received 1 advanced fire energy, 1 intermediate talent point, 2 advanced rune energy, 2,000 advanced health points, 1 advanced light energy, 10,000 strengthening points, 20,000 strengthening points, 10,000 strengthening points. This was so King awesome. Lin Chen's strengthening points were soaring at an unprecedented speed. In the past, a blue metal attribute light ball would give dozens of strengthening points, and a few would give hundreds of strengthening points. But here, a blue metal attribute light ball would give at least 10,000 strengthening points. The other attribute light balls were still terrifyingly high. Excluding strengthening points, each attribute light ball was worth more than 100 million. When Zhen Dezhang grabbed the 3 orange crystal treasure chests, the system screen that popped up made him feel even better. Host has opened 3 orange crystal treasure chests. Received. Upgrade key, orange grade talent fragment, one-time use, God Slayer fragment, 3/3, intermediate orange grade talent fragment, one-time use, Heaven Defying, 1/2, Heaven Defying talent. Break defense, instant kill. The heavens are merciless. Go against the heavens. Extreme instant kill type talent. When the Heaven Defying talent is activated, the host will enter the Heaven Defying state for a limited time. When the host's attack can completely break the enemy's defense and enter the enemy's body, it will result in instant kill. Range of application. Temporarily effective for those below 9th Heaven Saint stage. Temporarily ineffective for those between 1st and 9th Refinement Saint. Boom. Lin Chen's consciousness almost exploded. Break defense, instant kill when entering the talent state? If he could break a saint's defense once, wouldn't he be able to instantly kill a saint? Outside the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, because of the appearance of the heaven-defying talent, Lin Chen couldn't help but laugh maniacally. Awesome, awesome. This is so King awesome. I like this. Everyone in the audience? 1 against 15, and you're still saying it's awesome? You still like it? Crazy. This Lin Chen must be crazy. The heaven-defying talent was King ridiculous. Orange grade talents, each more insane than the other. It was true. However, the heaven-defying one had a fixed flaw, and that was that it needed to completely break through the enemy's defenses. With Lin Chen's current strength, even the most ordinary of saints would not be able to break through his defense, unless they tried to gamble on their luck and tried the ripping talent. But in reality, it was impossible for any Sage Realm expert to stand there and let Lin Chen hit them. If a sage tore through space to advance, Lin Chen wouldn't even be able to touch their hair. But now that he had the God Slayer talent, it was a completely different story. If the Heaven Defying was paired with the God Slayer, it would cause a qualitative change. The condition of the God Slayer talent was to temporarily obtain the cultivation of the Saint Realm. For a short period of time, the cultivation of the Saint Realm would be able to break through the defense of the Saint Realm, killing a saint in an instant. Damn it. Brother Chen, I can't use the God Slayer ability so easily this time. I can't use it until I collect the other fragment of the heaven-defying beast. This represents whether or not I have a super trump card that can instantly kill a Sage Realm expert. Being able to fight against a Sage Realm expert and instantly killing a Sage Realm expert were 2 completely different concepts. There seems to be something wrong with the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, but they are still bitterly persevering in the Purple Flame Array. One of them is missing. Could it be that they were burned to death? Qin Xiaotian hurriedly glanced at the 8 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and didn't find anything unusual. Let's end this quickly. Attack together and blast him. Qin Xiaotian decided to cut the Gordian knot and roared. His Sky Destroyer hammer produced tens of thousands of silver rays that were like dancing silver snakes. It also produced a vast and gloomy wind blade as it smashed down with the hammer. The hammer light rotated and shot out a silver hammer mark that was several acres large. It was like a giant beast that destroyed everything. Half-orange-grade combat skill Fiend hammer. In addition to the power of Qin Shaotian's many odd crystal fragments and his own cultivation and mental cultivation method, even many veteran Fourth Tribulation combat emperors could smell a fatal danger from this hammer. He didn't take the risk to use this killer move against Lin Chen previously because he was waiting for this moment. What he wanted wasn't a battle full of risks, but a real victory. Boom! There was a sudden clap of thunder on the ground, and thunder and smoke filled the sky. Endless lightning, sword rainbows, and saber auras flashed. An overwhelming attack was ready to be launched, aimed at Lin Chen and blasted out. The sky and the ground were filled with battle chi attacks. The battle chi rainbows penetrated the entire combat arena like a gathering tornado. Such a terrifying attack was enough to crush a Fourth Tribulation combat emperor. Only a Fifth Tribulation combat emperor would have a chance to escape unscathed. Fighting Emperor 10 styles, Saint Fall, break. Boom. At this moment Lin Chen's aura soared. He held the red spear in his hand and pure strength suddenly exploded from his arms. He swung it fiercely. Host activated level 6 charging, level 5 penetration, consuming 5 million points of intermediate rune energy. The Dark Calamity combat body, the strongest of the 9 Tribulation combat bodies, exploded with endless shadows that devoured the heavens and the earth. The tip of the spear flashed with a dark ray that distorted the heavens and the earth. The dark ray surged with this spear, as if it was shattering the galaxy. The shocking spear burst out with an 8th-level embryonic weapon battle spear. It was a half-orange-grade spear technique that was enhanced with pure strength, stunning countless spectators and geniuses. However, it was still not enough. Lin Chen's opponents were a total of 15 geniuses on the genius ranking. There were 8 geniuses ranked above 80,000 and one of them was Qin Shaotian, who was ranked above 70,000. Host activated level 5 Heavenly Invisibility Rune. Cooldown time, 40 seconds. Duration, 3 seconds. The moment the Saint Fall spear blasted out, faint blue light flashed between Lin Chen's eyebrows. However, no one noticed his mental fluctuation. Extreme Convergence innate talent consumed 20 million points of elementary talent. Level 6 charging, level 5 penetration. It could be said that it was 1,000 attacks in an instant. The moment Lin Chen swung his spear like a divine dragon swinging its tail, he had already accumulated power and was ready to attack. The golden blade at his waist flashed thrice. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 dazzling golden saber auras transformed into horizontal streams of light, moving at an extremely fast speed and shattering countless attacks in a flash. Vanishing Shadow Flying Dagger, 3 consecutive strikes. The dark ray absorbed and destroyed all vitality. It rushed into countless battle chi attacks and caused a huge explosion that covered the entire arena. Bang, 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 rumble. The colorful battle chi rainbow rolled up a few huge mushroom clouds. When everyone thought that there were still some attacks that managed to avoid Lin Chen's attack, they strangely turned into ashes and dispersed in a puff of smoke. One, chi. The explosion was not only limited to battle chi and pure strength attack. There was also a violent mental storm. The blue mental light beam pierced through most of the geniuses in Extreme Heaven Pavilion. Their faces were pale and they vomited blood. They twitched and rolled their eyes. Their mental strength had suffered unprecedented damage. This scene left many reclusive old monsters dumbfounded. Other than the sages, almost no one could sense that Lin Chen had actually kept so many cards up his sleeve. Violent gales swept out, causing his silver robe to flutter. The young man stood there with his spear in hand like an invincible god of war between the heavens and the earth. He stood proudly beneath the world-shaking explosion of energy, and the space between his brows revealed a confident yet not conceited overbearingness. Everyone looked up at the tall and slender figure in a daze. He had actually done it. He had challenged the entire Extreme Heaven Pavilion by himself. Chapter 9:12. At this moment, the geniuses of Extreme Heaven Pavilion were either lying on the ground, unconscious, or twitching on the ground. Thousands of geniuses on the genius list felt their scalps go numb. He actually shook the entire Extreme Heaven Pavilion by himself. No, to be precise, he defeated the entire Extreme Heaven Pavilion by himself. In the end, Lin Chen's crazy attacks could be said to have stunned everyone present. Where did he get such a strong battle chi storage and recovery ability? These killer moves aren't some purple-tier cultivation methods, they require a terrifying amount of battle chi to consume. All of this was mainly due to the growth of the mental cultivation method brought about by the growth of the elemental attribute and the upgrade of the extreme origin convergence talent. Without either of these, he wouldn't be able to unleash such a fierce attack. Only Mo Jingchen and Qin Xiaotian were able to maintain their rationality under this round of attacks. The severely injured and unconscious geniuses dropped 3 attribute light balls. It was very limited, but a portion of the odd crystal fragments fell to the ground. Before the first wave subsided, another wave came. Bang! The injured Qin Xiaotian's mind shook violently. This was the sound coming from the 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda. The 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda is damaged. Qin Xiaotian's expression changed, and he instantly teleported Lin Chen's clones and everyone out. We're out. Good fellow, we were really trapped. Everyone walked towards Mo Jingchen and Qin Xiaotian. As soon as they came out, the clones were even more agile and quickly took away the storage rings of the unconscious geniuses. They were so skillful that the corners of the audience's mouths twitched slightly. Bang bang bang. Even so, the attacks didn't stop. Qin Xiaotian finally panicked. This 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda was an important sacred artifact of the Qin family. If it was damaged in his hands, even he would have to deal with it according to the family rules. By then, his ambition and hegemony would be completely ruined. Qin Xiaotian's consciousness looked around and finally found Zhen Dezhang in the control center of the pagoda and teleported him out. But it was already too late. The 8-colored crystal in the control center was full of cracks, and at least half of the 88 core arrays of the 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda were destroyed. Qin Xiaotian's face was pale. Even if this sacred artifact was repaired, its power would be greatly reduced. Is this your goal from the start? Qin Xiaotian scolded Lin Chen angrily. He shrugged and said with a mocking smile, "You still have time to question me? Take a look at your own situation first." When Lin Chen's clone finished collecting the attribute light balls and realized that he couldn't take the 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda, he was determined to destroy this sacred artifact. However, when he destroyed the 8-colored crystal, the system informed him that he could obtain the records of the array inside the crystal by consuming the cultivation method soul essence. As a result, Lin Chen consumed 40 advanced cultivation technique soul essences and allowed the system to record 88 types of array formations in the 8 Treasures' exquisite pagoda. He had already taken away the core treasure. Lin Chen was confident that as long as he had the materials, he could create a Saint Treasure Pagoda even stronger than the 8 Treasures Jewel Pagoda. You think you can beat me like this? Heavenly Soul Saint Crystal. At this moment, Qin Xiaotian's hair was a mess. He grinned maliciously as he crushed the snow-white crystal in his hand. His entire body was covered with a layer of energy crystals that were 2 fingers thick. Qin Xiaotian had transformed into a crystal man whose entire body was covered in crystals. Qin Xiaotian vomited blood. Mo Jingchen was astonished. I didn't expect the pavilion master to fight to this extent. He's never been this reckless before. Why is he fighting to the death with the Black Horse Club? The Heavenly Soul Saint Crystal was a life-saving trump card that Qin Shaotian's father had left for him. Its energy was enough to burst his meridians. Using this item would at least cause serious injuries, and it might even affect his future cultivation. However, with this item, his entire body would be invulnerable, and he would be invincible. Lin Chun had almost destroyed everything he had built. The woman he had pursued, the power he had built, and the foundation he had painstakingly prepared. Qin Shaotian was going to fight to the death with Lin Chun. Clang! With a flash of sword light, Jundok Shui slashed horizontally. The mighty sky sword landed on Qin Shaotian's head, but it only left a shallow white mark. Ha ha, die! Qin Shaotian's mouth was bleeding. He laughed maniacally as he punched Jundok Shui. What a hard tortoise shell! Is there such a shameless way to fight? Lin Chun narrowed his eyes. It wasn't that the mighty sky sword wasn't as good as his heavenly soul Saint Crystal. Even if the mighty sky sword had only recovered 40% of its power, a saint could easily break through Qin Shaotian's defense. The mighty sky sword needed to be infused with saint power to unleash its true power. Secondly, it had to suppress the divine equipment so that it wouldn't hurt him. Seeing Qin Shaotian holding the Sky Destroyer hammer tightly again, Lin Chun instantly activated his movement technique. Be careful! Lin Chun grabbed Ling Yueqi and everyone retreated. Shintoku Sho drew his bow and shot. With a flash of arrow light, he hindered Qin Shaotian's movements. Everyone retreated quickly. Qin Shaotian was like a mad beast. He held the hammer and attacked violently. He actually suppressed the two clones head-on. His defense was indestructible and couldn't be broken at all. Only he could attack others, and no one could touch him at all. Bai Juanhao and the others quickly took care of the seriously injured Mo Jingchen and joined forces to attack him. They left Qin Shaotian for their class monitor to deal with. If I use the mighty sky sword, Azure Moon, and the divine spear embryo to attack him, I might have a chance. The problem is how to delay his movements. I can't just use the delaying rune on him. Lin Chun had an idea. He held Ling Yueqi's slender hand and smiled. Sister Yueqi, if I use my water-type battle aura, can you freeze that guy? Even if he hadn't reached the peak of his bloodline, he should be able to try once against Qin Shaotian. Ling Yueqi nodded. I should be able to. Let me try. Whoosh. The two of them had a tacit understanding. When they stood together, all the clones stood together with Lin Chun. They circulated their mental cultivation techniques and fully activated their water calamity battle body. Lin Chun and his doppelgangers aimed their hands at Qin Shaotian and pushed forward. Huge waves surged forward, flooding the entire area. Heavenly Imperial Sea. The Dragon Emperor Zhen Depi clenched his fist. The waves formed by his water calamity battle aura twisted into a tornado and trapped Qin Shaotian within. Damn it, get out of my way! Qin Shaotian swung his Sky Destroyer hammer, creating huge holes with splashes of water. Ling Yueqi floated in the air, her jade belt fluttering. Her slender and exquisite body glowed with a cold light. It was as if winter had descended, chilling everyone to the bone. So it's the 9 absolute frost meridians. No wonder this girl can attract such terrifying cold energy. Some of the saints were shocked and sighed. They looked at the Ice Heart Palace with envy. Seal! Whoosh! The ice beam fell from the sky and froze all the water calamity battle aura. Even Qin Shaotian was no exception. He was frozen into a complete ice sculpture. Success. Continue to use the water calamity battle aura and increase the freezing power. He won't be able to move for a while. Lin Chun held his red spear and stepped into the air with Jundok Shui and Zhen Dang. They appeared behind Qin Shaotian. What do you want to do? Qin Shaotian transmitted his voice with fear and trepidation. The three brothers stood behind Qin Shaotian. At that moment, when Lin Chen and his clones took out Azure Bright Moon, Atlas Sword, and Red Spear and aimed it at Qin Shaotian's eyes, the audience and even the saints were shocked when they saw two level 8 sacred weapons and a level 8 artifact embryo aimed at Qin Shaotian's anus. Are these guys from the Black Horse Club still human? Chapter 9:13. Lin Chen, Zhen Dang, and Zhendok Shuai looked at Qin Shaotian and politely declined each other. Lin Chen, handsome brothering, after you. Zhendok Shuai, no, after you, Deputy Chief. Zhen Dang, assault triggered, Chief fell in love with me. The three of them looked at each other and smiled like children. Next, the three of them brutally ravaged Qin Shaotian. The system screen flickered wildly. Activated passive talent, assault, power bonus, 50%. 999 times. This day was destined to be recorded in the history of the Four Powers tournament. Millions of spectators witnessed Lin Chen and the others ravaging Qin Shaotian like a chrysanthemum blooming. Countless young spectators engraved a memory of the Black Horse Club that was close to a psychological trauma. Women couldn't bear to look at this scene while men cried on the spot. Three sacred artifacts were crazily attacking the back of a young man for an hour and even shattered the heavenly soul holy crystal. Was he still human? Was he still human? F***CK. Obtained 20 points of Advanced Battle Chi Essence, 10 points of Advanced Battle Chi Essence, 1 point of Advanced Spiritual Power. Lin Chen's crazy attack shattered Qin Shaotian's heavenly soul holy crystal on the spot. Someone Lin took the 6 odd crystal fragments that Qin Shaotian dropped with a serious expression. This ridiculous team martial arts competition finally came to an end. The Dark Horse Club advanced to the finals. Qin Shaotian and the others were all unconscious and seriously injured. They were all carried away, leaving only Mo Jingchen, who gave up in the end to maintain his consciousness. After this battle, countless geniuses on the genius list were afraid of the Black Horse Club, too perverted. These guys were a bunch of King monsters. Saint Azure was slightly happy. He didn't expect the Black Horse Club to be so capable that they could even escape from the 8 treasures exquisite pagoda. Now, they might have a chance to compete with the hidden dragon race geniuses. The Black Horse Club is too strong. They have a rank 8 sacred spear embryo, then a sacred sword and a sacred blade. This time, no one can stop them. Yeah, the champion is basically confirmed to be the Black Horse Club. Motherf***, if I'm still alive, I definitely won't fight with these guys. They're too perverted. Just as the audience was engaged in a heated discussion, a team was sent flying through the air. Bang, bang, bang. 10 of the Genius Rankings geniuses were thrown out of the spatial barrier, attracting the attention of many people. Everyone's attention was originally focused on the showdown between Absolute Heaven Pavilion and the Black Horse Club. Who would have thought that the other semi-finals would also begin? However, this semi-final was still extremely miserable. The geniuses from the 3 rank 4 sects were beaten up and thrown out of the arena. Everyone looked over with rapt attention. That team actually only had 5 people. Where did these guys come from? The geniuses of the Underworld Sword Pavilion and Shadow Sect have been defeated. They sent out all their top geniuses this time. There are 5 geniuses ranked 81,000th on the genius ranking. It's said that their goal is to fight for first place with Absolute Heaven Pavilion. All of the genius rankings geniuses could not help being stunned. The originally scheduled champion team was actually all eliminated in the semifinals? The Lin Chen, who had just stepped off the stage, narrowed his eyes. Is that the Dragon Race team that sneaked into the venue that Saint Azure said? What a formidable disguise. My purple-gold pupils completely didn't see through any clues, just like a real human. The semi-finals are over. The group martial competition will officially begin 3 days later. Saint Azure came down the stage to announce. When Lin Chen gathered with everyone, a strange gaze stared at Lin Chen's back. That came from the disguised dragon race team. Crown Prince? What are you doing? Heh, I discovered something fun. There should be a pretty good toy in the finals this time. The group martial competition was the final climax of the Four Regions Summit. The Black Horse Club took the lead. Other than losing to the Thousand Sound Pavilion in the final music competition and getting third place, the Black Horse Club won 6 consecutive championships in the individual martial competition, alchemy, forging, treasure appraisal, and fortune-telling events. In the past, no faction could reach this height. Wanting to nurture geniuses who reached the peak in every field was too difficult. This was not something that could be done with sufficient cultivation resources. It also required the guidance of a Saint-rank powerhouse in the relevant field. Unless a 5th rank and above faction took action, otherwise, this 6 consecutive championships would remain the highest result in the history of the Four Regions Summit. The higher the rank of a sect, the more terrifying it was. Some top 5th rank sects could basically crush 4th rank sections. They were not on the same level at all. If the group martial competition could also win the championship, that would be an unprecedented 7 consecutive championships. Inside a secret chamber, Lin Chen's group gathered. These people are all your clones? Yan Xinyun's small mouth opened slightly. She did not expect that Lin Chen would have such tremendous achievements not long after arriving at the sacred boundary. If all the members of the Black Horse Club were his clones, then wasn't this the same as him winning 6 consecutive championships by himself? There's a reason for this. There's nothing I can do about it. You've seen how many saints outside want to kill me, Lin Chen shrugged. Yan Xinyun was speechless. You really are a madman. Just how many saints have you provoked? No wonder that good fortune saint was scared to death. So those are your clones. Of course they can't calculate their fates. That's right. Lin Chen seemed to think of something. He took out the shadow egg that was sealed within the peach blossom plant bag. Everyone was curious. As they looked at it, they saw that the egg was purple-black and covered with cracks. Can you help me calculate the origin and fate of this thing? This thing is giving me a headache, and I can't throw it away. If I throw it away, it will run back into my destiny plant bag. Lin Chen's arithmetic ability was far inferior to Yan Xinyun's. He had relied on the attribute light sphere and the 9 tribulation eye to deceive his way through the divination competition. In terms of arithmetic, he would have to rely on her. This is the egg of the shadow race? But something isn't right. It's not as simple as it seems. Yan Xinyun's eyes focused on the patterns on the egg. The purple light was restrained, concealing a profound mystery. How strange. Inside this egg, I can actually feel different life fluctuations. Shangguan Bihan used her secret appraisal technique to see through some of the secrets of this egg. She was surprised and stunned. Yan Xinyun quickly pinched her fingers together, using arithmetic to deduce the origin of this egg. Before long, I can't calculate it. According to the fate of this egg, I can find several space coordinates. They are located at the edge of the sacred boundary. They seem to be places where shadow life forms once appeared. Yan Xinyun looked at Lin Chen and shook her head. But those aren't its birthplaces. The origin of this egg has been covered up. Perhaps some supreme elder took action to cover up part of its fate. Lin Chen held his forehead, feeling a headache coming on. This little thing had already refined 1,000,000 silver saint origin coins from him. He couldn't throw it away, and even if he threw it away, it could still rely on its natural ability to shuttle back into the peach blossom plant bag. But in the peach blossom plant bag, its strength would be sealed by Lin Chen. But Lin Chen didn't want to carry around such a ticking time bomb. Chapter 9:14. Lin Chen planned to use Yan Xinyun's arithmetic to deduce the birthplace of this egg and find a chance to throw it back. Maybe it wouldn't rely on him when it returned to its hometown? But Yan Xinyun couldn't deduce it. He would need 3 luck spirit plants to cultivate odd crystals in the future, and he already had 2 now. This peach blossom pouch would be his testing ground for cultivating odd crystals in the future. If there was such a ticking time bomb, if it ran out one day, the peach blossom pouch would be turned upside down by this damn thing. How about I destroy it? Lin Chen's eyes flashed fiercely. Shangguan Bihan hurriedly waved her hand and said, "No, it already has consciousness and wisdom, and the life energy in its body is no small matter. If it counterattacks before it dies, not to mention you, even a sage might not be able to guarantee your safety." The corner of Lin Chen's mouth twitched. Motherf *Ker, why did the ancient god give him such a plaything? You can try to hatch it, maybe you can negotiate with it. It is a high-level creature and should be able to communicate. Moreover, there is an ancient book in this 4-way conference that records all kinds of strange creatures in the world. Maybe you can even find its weakness. Yan Qianyun said seriously. Shangguan Bihan's eyes lit up. Miss Qianyun is talking about the 1,000 Races Holy Scripture? Yes, the 1,000 Races Holy Scripture originated from the sacred boundary 4 million years ago. It was written by an extremely knowledgeable and experienced Tuo Sheng. It is said that he didn't care about worldly affairs and liked to refine medicine. He also liked to travel to various spatial planes and recorded all the races he encountered and saw. Shangguan Bihan's beautiful eyes flickered as she said to Lin Chen seriously, "I originally participated in the 4-way conference for this holy scripture. This holy scripture covers a wide range of fields and is extremely rich. It is said that it records the inherent advantages and disadvantages of many creatures, and the understanding of life has reached a very high level. But I don't know why Tuo Sheng suddenly died 1,000,000 years ago and disappeared without a trace, leaving only this holy scripture. It is said that he was involved in a great war," Yan Qianyun said with a smile. "It's a pity that most people, including the saints, only focus on cultivation and martial art. This 1,000 clans cannon didn't attract much attention until it was sold as a prize in the 4-way conference." Lin Chen's eyes lit up. This Tuo Sheng really was a strange person. If he could find a way to control this little guy, he might even be able to negotiate terms with it after it hatched. If he could use the power of the creature in the egg, it would definitely be a great help to him. Its ability to travel through the void was no small matter. In the sacred boundary, only saints could tear through the void and move forward. I'm now surrounded by the saints. Once the conference is over, it'll be time for the saints to show their claws and fangs to me. If I can hatch this little guy for my use, there might be unexpected effects. It's worth a try." After making up his mind, Lin Chen immediately went to the point exchange hall. His Black Horse Club had more points than anyone in the past. Today's battle is the reason why I invited everyone here. In the secret hall, the Palace Master of Ice Heart Palace had invited all the saints to gather. "Does your Ice Heart Palace have any cooperation for us?" The 4th floor Master of Cloud Desolate 12 Floors took a bite of a berry and smiled meaningfully. "As far as I know, the 2 disciples of Thousand Charm Palace, Cloud Desolate Buildings in Liang and White Dragon Gates by Juanhao, both have a good relationship with Lin Chen. I believe that everyone sent envoys to the mortal world with the purpose of befriending him. Now is a good opportunity, isn't it?" The Palace Master smiled sweetly. The White Dragon Gates Sect Master stroked his chin and smiled. "Palace Master means that you want us to join forces and help the Black Horse Club?" As soon as these words were said, the atmosphere in the hall became extremely quiet. Those who could cultivate to the Saint realm were all shrewd people. The saints could roughly guess the Ice Heart Palace's intentions. The Palace Master nodded. "That's right. It's better to provide timely assistance than icing on the cake. Right now, Lin Chen is being threatened by many saints. If we stand firmly with him, when he grows in the future, we will be the first to benefit the most. But if we fail, we will be attacked crazily by the hidden pavilion. We will also be targeted by the third-rank sects allied with the hidden pavilion. A beautiful Saint Realm woman from Thousand Charm Palace chuckled, but her expression was grave. The White Dragon Gates sect master added, even more seriously, if this brat doesn't survive and the hidden pavilion obtains the ancient saint's inheritance, what awaits us in the future will be a destructive blow that will affect the entire sect. Don't forget that this brat just killed the son of a fourth-rank Chamber of Commerce and severely injured or turned into idiot. Who knows how much trouble he will have in the future? That's right, whether or not they should support Lin Chen was an extremely crucial question. This matter concerned the life and death of the entire sect. Being targeted by a rank 4 assassin sect, that kind of feeling would cause any young blood that they wanted to nurture to be killed in a matter of minutes. Indeed, as everyone has said, this is a huge gamble and the risk is extremely high. The palace master did not evade these questions and continued, but if he survives, we will benefit immensely. Everyone has seen this young man's monstrous means. Let me ask you, any Saint Realm expert in your sect, who can help a disciple comprehend the mental cultivation method to perfection in a few days? And which Saint Realm expert can cultivate a half-orange rank battle skill in a few days? Moreover, have you seen such a young 8th rank alchemist? In a sense, the Black Horse Club now has the potential to become a 8th rank blacksmith, alchemist, and even a Saint Realm fortune teller in the future. Silence indeed. Any Saint Realm expert present couldn't achieve even 1% of what Lin Chen had achieved. Just based on the Black Horse Club's performance in the Conference of the Four Directions, even the top 4th rank sects that had nurtured disciples ranked in the top 50,000 didn't have such a foundation. Everyone should have heard of some legends from the ancient times. It's rumored that some ancient sects would send a portion of their descendants into the saints' world to train in order to train and nurture their best descendants. They wouldn't act until the very last moment. The palace master's casual words woke everyone up from their daze. The beautiful woman from the Thousand Charm Palace trembled and said excitedly, "You mean, he might be a descendant of one of those hidden sects?" The palace master smiled and said, "If not, I don't think a 4th rank sect can nurture such a monstrous talent like the one in the Black Horse Club." Silence. After another round of consideration, the palace master's lips curled up slightly. She knew that someone was going to join her camp next. Points Hall, first floor hall. Lin Chen said, "How many points do I need to exchange for the 1000 Clan Bible?" The young lady in the hall smiled beautifully and said, 90,000 points. Lin Chen said, "Why don't you just rob me?" Chapter 9:15. 90,000 points? His Black Horse Club had only accumulated 170,000 points after winning 6 consecutive championships, and he needed 90,000 points to exchange for a book? Lin Chen was so angry that he almost cursed out loud. 5,000 points could be exchanged for an odd crystal fragment. 90,000 points, that was too ridiculous. Thinking about the potential of the Shadow Egg, Lin Chen gritted his teeth and bought the 1000 Clan Tome. After buying it, he found out that the 1000 Clan Tome was ranked 5th in the Four Directions Conference. No wonder no one bought it after so many sessions. 90,000 points was more than enough to buy a half-orange combat skill. Who would buy a tome that didn't improve at all? Then, Lin Chen bought the 8th transformation of the Azura 9 Brilliance transformation with 30,000 points and obtained the 8th transformation. With the 50,000 points, Lin Chen bought another 10 odd crystal fragments. He spent all of them. Bai Juanhao and the other two bought an odd crystal fragment each. Yu Linlin bought a top-notch defensive combat skill, and Lu Lin bought an unpopular poison recipe. Leng Yueqi obtained an ice recovery technique, and the Su sisters each obtained an odd crystal fragment. Everyone had a great harvest this time. At night, Lin Chen finally got together with everyone who had been separated for a long time. They drank to their heart's content and talked about their encounters after arriving at the sacred boundary. Everyone's talent and potential had been stimulated by quite a few fortuitous encounters after coming to the Saint's world. Although everyone brushed it off with a few simple words, Lin Chen could vaguely sense that basically all of them had been cultivating as hard as they could after coming to the Saint's world, all for the sake of being able to help him one day. To be able to meet such a group of friends who had gone through life and death together, his life was not in vain. Everyone knew that Lin Chen was in danger, so they simply chatted and urged him to cultivate quickly. In the resting area's secret room, Lin Chen's brows were sharp. Damn it, is it because of the dark pavilion, old ancestor? I feel like someone is watching me in the dark. It was urgent to increase his strength. Lin Chen already had a plan to deal with the Saints this time, but he still needed more preparation. With a thought, Lin Chen opened the system. Heavenly Tao Possession System version 6.0 Host. Lin Chen. Cultivation. Late 9th Layer War Emperor Realm. Advanced Essence. 99,665. About to break through to the First Tribulation War Emperor Realm. Host, please be prepared to face the heavenly tribulation. Maximum Strength, 39. 5 million Dragon Power, Advanced HP. 138,566. Advanced Spirit. 17 points, Peak of the Heavenly Arrival State, Advanced Cultivation Method Soul Essence. 485 points. Advanced Rune Energy. 650 points. Intermediate Heavens Path Points. 189 Intermediate Talent Points. 294. Blank Attributes. 890,000 points. Strengthening Points. 84 million points. Advanced Elemental Energy. 58 points of Fire, 33 points of Earth, 32 points of Wood, 42 points of Metal, 48 points of Water, 39 points of Lightning, 45 points of Wind, 14 points of Light, 31 points of Dark. Cultivation Method Status Column, Open. Bloodline Status Column, Open. Passive Talent Column, Open. Killing Technique Column, Open. Active Talent. Purple Rank, God Steel Omen. Purple Rank, Fatal Bloodthirst. Purple Rank, Superdimensional Teleportation. Purple Rank, Final Moment. Purple Rank, Ultimate Return. Purple Rank, Sovereign's Descent. Quasi-Orange Rank, Absolute Life and Death. Orange Rank, Instant Light Split Shadows. Orange Rank, One-Time Use. God Slayer. Orange Rank, One-Time Use. Heaven Defying, 1/2 Unique Rune Column, Open. Talent Combination Skill, Open. This time, his attributes were extremely powerful. From a certain point of view, Lin Chen even had to thank Qin Xiaotian. If he did not bring the 8 treasures exquisite pagoda over, his attributes would at most be 1/3 of what they were now. Consumed 8,488 Strengthening Point. Strengthening Sword Fury raises the heavens failed. Consumed 8,488 Strengthening Point. Strengthening plus 12 Sword Fury raises the heavens succeeded. Power increase, 30%. Consumed 12,495 Strengthening Point. Strengthening failed. After consuming 440,000 strengthening points, Lin Chen finally upgraded Sword Fury raises the heavens from +11 to +13. Strengthening a half-orange grade cultivation technique consumes too much. Lin Chen frowned. His Annihilation Technique and Bright Moon Mirror had been upgraded by the purple-green Path Understanding Fruit and inherited their original strengthening levels. Lin Chen had a huge advantage in terms of strengthening and breaking through the cultivation technique grade due to the sudden increase in comprehension. Maybe I can try consuming the purple-green understanding fruit in the future. I wonder if I can break through the grade of Sword Fury raises the heavens. With a plan in mind, Lin Chen activated the decomposition function. He decomposed 4 of the 10 odd crystal fragments that he bought and the 6 odd crystal fragments that he obtained from Qin Xiaotian. Host consumed 10 intermediate heaven path points to decompose 14 odd crystal fragment. Obtained advanced elemental attributes. 1 point of fire energy, 1 point of wind energy, 1 point of lightning energy, 1 point of earth energy, 2 points of water energy. Decomposing odd crystal fragments. However, Lin Chen didn't decompose the odd crystal fragments just for the elemental energy. That was secondary. What he wanted was the special attribute points. Received special attribute points. Ice Fiend of Hell 12 million points, Howling Wind 9 million points, Thousand Suns Fire 8 million points, Sky Thunder 8 million points, Splitting Soul Sandstorm 7 million points. A host consumed 75 intermediate Heaven Path points and specified special attribute points to create 9 intermediate blue rank Sure Kill skills, 5 advanced blue rank Sure Kill skills. Sure Kill skills column opened. Host has Sure Kill skills, 12 intermediate blue rank Sure skills. Green Burial of Hell 1, Ice Fiend of Hell 2, Howling Wind 2, 7 advanced blue rank types. Heavenly Een Ice Erosion 1 time, Sky Splitting Sandstorm 1 time, Thousand Suns Burning Sky 1 time, Een Void Thunder 1 time, Sure Kill skills. Sure Kill skills. They were all Sure Kill skills. Lin Chen used most of the odd crystal fragments that he obtained from the four-way conference to create Sure Kill skills. The reason was simple: he wanted to fight to the death with those saints. Damn it, I have 19 blue rank Sure Kill skills this time. 5 of them have a wide range and the rest can attack at least 4 targets. What's so great about saints? Even if the King of Hell comes, Brother Chen will pluck a few strands of his beard off. In Lin Chen's eyes, there was a ruthlessness that showed that he had nothing to lose. If he was going to do it, he was going to do it big. Consumed 285 advanced technique spirit essences. The 1000 Races scripture has been recorded in the system. Host can extract the essence content at any time to read or merge memories to read. Lin Chen smacked his lips. This was equivalent to 28.5 billion intermediate technique spirit essences. How many creatures and information was recorded in this 1000 Races scripture? He learned Sword Fury Sky 4 less than 1 billion point. The contents of the 1000 Races scripture were equivalent to more than 200 half-orange rank techniques. The amount of information was too much. The system arranged the screen with the contents of the scripture. Lin Chen directly found the content about the Dark Shadow Clan. Volume 970. Dark Shadow Clan, born in the Void Gap, originated from the most mysterious dark matter energy in the world. They have the peerless talent to control space, and no creature can compare. Dark Shadow fears light. Extreme light represents extreme creation and destruction. Divine light can isolate the void and divide the spaceplane. This is one of the weaknesses of the Dark Shadow. Lin Chen was stunned when he read the records of the Dark Shadow Clan. The Dark Shadow Clan is afraid of light? I wonder if my light calamity battle body is effective. However, following that, Lin Chen caught sight of a line of extremely strange words. There are good and bad creatures in the universe. There has never been a perfect creature. The Dark Shadow has the best talent but is given such an unbearable weakness. This Saint's experiment has reached the 4th stage, and this Dark Shadow is no longer afraid of light. Lin Chen was shocked. Experiment. Chapter 9:16. What was the experiment? Could it be that Tuo Sheng was experimenting on the Dark Shadow race? Lin Chen continued to search through the system. The system found the content of the next scroll in the sea of information. As Lin Chen continued to read the rest of the experiment in the Holy Bible of the 1000 Races, he felt an unprecedented shock. An earth-shattering ancient secret was gradually revealed. The 4th experiment also failed quickly. This Dark Shadow was too focused on restraining the Divine Light's weakness. It lacked a strong body and its vitality was too weak. It was instantly destroyed. It needed to find a strong beast bloodline to mate with. I didn't expect the 5th experiment to fail as well. It was too focused on condensing the body, and even the Dark Shadow's spirituality was wiped out a seventh experiment. As expected, the Dark Shadow's bloodline couldn't withstand the combination of so many bloodlines. It needed to find a saint-level innate Dark Shadow. Volume 978, 10th experiment. After mating the Cloud Dragon Prince with the innate Dark Shadow, the innate Dark Shadow was finally born with a 7th-grade Divine Dragon bloodline. It was a Dark Shadow that was not afraid of the divine light and had an extremely strong body. However, it was still not perfect. It could still be stronger. Volume 988, 12th experiment. After 400,000 years of planning, the descendant of the Ice Divine Dragon with a 9th-grade Divine Dragon bloodline was finally able to mate with the innate Dark Shadow. It was finally close to perfection. It had the talents of a dragon, the Dark Shadow, spirituality, and a domineering dragon body. If it could continue to make up for its weakness and resist the demonic chi, it would be invincible. It would become the strongest in the sacred boundary. I would reign over the sacred boundary. Volume 990, 14th experiment. I've infiltrated the demonic race for 500,000 years and instigated 2 saint demonic emperors to mate with the Dark Shadow of the 13th experiment. I'm looking forward to the birth of the strongest Dark Shadow. However, this innate Dark Shadow was quieter than before. When it opened its eyes, its gaze was so calm that it scared me. It was perfect. The ultimate Dark Shadow of the 14th experiment seemed to be comparable to the Azura King in history. Its talents are flawless. It has perfectly inherited the intelligence and the power of shape-shifting. Even the great Tao of heaven and earth cannot sense its existence. It also has the destructive power of the demons and the talents of the dragons. But it's too smart. Even I'm afraid of it. It's actually plotting against me, using me as the foundation for its growth. If it wants to turn the tables, I might not be able to suppress it. The 14th Ultimate Umbra still managed to escape. It has secretly grown to a level where even I am unable to do anything about it. I was wrong. I was too obsessed with perfection and I was unable to control it. This Ultimate Umbra might become the root of disaster for the Saints' world. I've realized that flaws are also an important part of perfection. I'm going to create an ultimate shadow that's flawed yet perfect. Volume 999, Issue 15. This Dark Shadow is very smart. Even though it was hatched from an egg, it already has a high level of intelligence. It has the ability and potential of the previous Ultimate Dark Shadow, but it has a stronger talent and possibility than the Ultimate Dark Shadow. But this also causes it to have flaws. When it's just an egg, it already likes to eat pills and silver sacred origin coins. It's permanently hungry for energy. If it can't replenish its energy in time, it will fall into a state where it can't fight. The 1000th scroll. I didn't expect that the Ultimate Dark Shadow would hide among the various clans and launch a surprise attack, exposing my experiment. This caused the experts of the various clans to be enraged. I was unwilling to accept this. The Dragon Clan, the Demon Clan, the Dark Shadow Clan, and many other experts besieged me one after another. In the end, the Ultimate Dark Shadow seized my body. I've failed. It's too late to realize the opportunity of perfection. I hope this shadow egg doesn't die after it leaves my hands. It's my greatest masterpiece. After reading the experiment notes, Lin Chen's heart could not calm down for a long time. His heart was filled with shock, and at the same time, he cursed out loud. Tuosheng is too crazy. He actually used his understanding of the various races to try to create the strongest creature. Using the shadow as a foundation, he set up, and deceived those powerful elite creatures. He made them mate and give birth to offspring to continue his experiments. He toyed with the elites of various forces in his experiments. He tried to create the strongest creature to dominate the sacred boundary. Lin Chen sighed. Success and failure were all due to Tuosheng. In the end, he died because of the ultimate shadow in Volume 14, which angered the elites of various races. After traveling the heavens, Tuo Xing understood the shortcomings of life and was determined to create the most perfect creature in the world with no weaknesses. He was definitely an ambitious and ruthless overlord. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was going against the heavens. In the eyes of outsiders, Tuo Xing was just a leisurely saint, but in his heart there was a hegemony. Since ancient times, who dared to use millions of years to set up a trap in the various races, obtain the bloodlines of elite creatures, and make them mate and produce offspring? But what made Lin Chen even more frustrated was that the shadow egg recorded in the notes was extremely similar to the one in his hand. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? The ancient god had also said that he could not see through the origins of this egg after his cultivation had fallen. He only knew that it contained the life energy of the dragon race, the demon race, and the shadow race. Damn it, if this is really the shadow egg from volume 15, should I throw it away or hatch it? Lin Chen broke out in a cold sweat. He did not expect the egg's origins to be so terrifying. It was so terrifying that even Lin Chen felt that it was a hot potato. The contents of the letter were very clear. The perfect ultimate shadow from the 14th issue had stolen Buddha Sage's body and was still alive. If it discovered the 15th issue's shadow, Lin Chen would be the first to die. If he threw it away, he would throw away the peach blossom plant pouch as well. If he hatched it, it would be both helpful and a threat. I, Lin Chen, have fought my way from Jiuzhou to the sacred boundary. I have never looked into the distant future. I only look at the present. Now that I am surrounded by saints, I will die even if I can't survive. I might as well take a gamble. Anyway, this guy is not invincible. The notes clearly mentioned that it has a weakness, which is that it is a glutton. The kind that can't fight if it misses a meal. The moment Lin Chen made up his mind, he immediately opened the peach blossom plant pouch. The two great Providence spirit plants had produced more than 7 million silver Saint Origin coins and hundreds of thousands of 7th-grade heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Little guy, don't you want to eat? I will let you eat to your heart's content today. How about it? Lin Chen transmitted a wisp of his mind to the shadow egg. The egg seemed to understand and flashed with a cheerful light. Lin Chen smiled evilly. But I have a request. The egg was confused. ? The corner of Lin Chen's mouth rose into a crazy smile. If I hatch you, I will turn the entire sacred boundary upside down. The egg flashed and a purple-black brilliance condensed into a single word on top of the eggshell. 6. Chapter 9:17. Lin Chen had only discovered the contents of the experiments in the handwritten notes after the 900-plus scrolls of records of the various races. The contents of the experiment took up about 1/1000th of the entire 1,000 races divine manual. Even a saint would find the contents of the manual like searching for a needle in a haystack. One had to know that a saint would need decades or even centuries to master a half-orange grade battle technique. The 1,000 races divine manual was equivalent to 300 half-orange grade battle technique. No saint would spend so much time and effort to read this manual, let alone read the contents after the 900 or so scrolls. In other words, Lin Chen might be the only one who knew Tuo Xing's final secret. The most terrifying thing was that the shadow egg beside him was most likely the one that Tuo Xing had experimented with. Lin Chen threw 3 million silver Saint Origin coins at the shadow egg, causing it to pile up like a mountain. Then, he quickly undid the seal on the shadow egg, causing the shadow egg to feel extremely flattered. Following that, Eggy swallowed all the silver Saint Origin coins like a whale. The silver Saint Origin coins turned into streams of silver light that were translucent and dazzling as they were refined into the eggshell. More and more cracks appeared on the eggshell. However, Lin Chen did not stop there. With a flash of his body, he left the secret room and arrived at the spacious area of the resting area. Then, Lin Chen released 5 clones and activated the 255 alchemy cauldrons he had. He quickly took out all the herbs in the peach blossom pouch. Boom! His terrifying spiritual power shook the 9 heavens, as deep as the sea. What's going on? Is someone using spiritual power in the resting area? That direction seems to be the Black Horse Club's resting area. What's going on? What are they doing instead of resting and preparing for the finals? Many veteran experts were alarmed. They all came out of seclusion and flew into the air, their faces full of surprise. During the break, most of the audience would stay at the 10,000 Days Plaza to rest or participate in auctions, treasure hunting, antique consecration, and alchemy. Places with people would naturally socialize. Now that the resting area had caused such a commotion, how could it not attract attention? Even some of the saints who were paying close attention to the Black Horse Club secretly looked at it with suspicion. In the next moment, countless onlookers gasped. On the spacious ground of the resting area, Zhen Dechang, Ying Jiu Shui Xiu, and the other 5 great commanders were gathered together. In front of each of them were dozens of pill furnaces. The 5 doppelgangers began to form the alchemy hand seals. Their hands moved as fast as lightning, leaving behind afterimages. The tens of thousands of hand seals changed rapidly, and the endless amount of medicinal ingredients were absorbed into over 200 pill furnaces. Not only did Lin Chen have to invest a large amount of Silver Saint origin coins, but he also had to refine a large number of Tier 7 pills for the Shadow Egg. Then, he poured out all the treasures in the spatial ring that he had snatched earlier. As long as it was a medicinal ingredient, he would pour it all into the cauldron. With a sweep of his mental power, his clone would immediately distribute the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron. As for the healing pills in the storage ring, as long as Lin Chen did not need them, they were all thrown into the peach blossom plant pouch to incubate the shadow egg. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dazzling rays of light shot into the sky like rainbows. The openings of all the pill furnaces were shining brightly, and the fragrance of the pills and the energy waves were overflowing. The 5 doppelgangers who had cultivated the +13 Genesis Holy Scripture started to refine the medicinal ingredients with hundreds of pill furnaces. The scene was extremely magnificent. A large amount of medicinal essence began to be refined, fused, purified, and condensed rapidly. Over 200 pill furnaces began to condense Tier 7 embryonic pills at a speed visible to the naked eye. The fragrance of the pills spread for hundreds and thousands of miles. Everyone's eyeballs almost fell to the ground. The average person in the Black Horse Club was controlling 51 pill furnaces to refine pills? Am I seeing things? What kind of F***king joke is this? Zhen De-ing alone is already heaven-defying enough. Does this mean that all the members of the Black Horse Club are peak Tier 7 alchemists? I'm afraid they are not just peak Tier 7 alchemists. Their techniques, mental power, and mental control are all the same as Zhen De-ying's. What the F***ck? This is F***king ridiculous. This is too ridiculous. All the powerhouses who witnessed this scene were going crazy. Some of them even felt like their brains were about to explode. This was beyond their knowledge. This was absolutely beyond their knowledge. This was too crazy. If one Zhen De-ing was able to refine a Tier 8 divine pill with Hanxian, then what was the concept of 5? All the members of the Black Horse Club had the potential to become Tier 8 alchemists? F***ck. What was there to compete with? Weren't they bullying others by coming to the 4-way conference? Since ancient times, how many forces could have 5 saint-level alchemists? A top 4th grade force could nurture nearly 50,000 geniuses on the genius ranking. If they had a saint-level alchemist, they could be called a top 4th grade force. If they had 2 or more Tier 8 alchemists, unless it was a sect that focused on refining pills, only a 5th grade sect could have such a foundation. As for 5, there was only one sentence. This was F** King ridiculous. In the crowd, there was a handsome young man and a beautiful woman who were especially shocked. It was Emo Qingyu and Lan Ruoxue. The two of them were extremely terrified. Their scalps were almost numb, and the soles of their feet were cold. Because they had remembered something. That day in the ancient sacred hall, after killing Ji Wutian, someone from the Black Horse Club used the vanishing shadow flying dagger in less than a day. What was even more frightening was that after killing more than 100 prodigies and more than 30 geniuses, all the members of the Black Horse Club had learned the vanishing shadow flying dagger, and all of them had cultivated it to perfection. Then, Emo Qingyu thought of the movement technique used by the members of the Black Horse Club. It was the same movement technique. Emo Qingyu was originally a fortune-teller. With his wisdom and quick thinking, a shocking idea appeared in his mind. Could it be that as long as one person in the Black Horse Club knows the technique, everyone else will know it? This idea was not groundless. It was very simple. Using the same movement technique didn't mean anything. There were many examples of people practicing the same technique in large sections. However, using the same refining technique might not necessarily be the same. Even disciples taught by the same saint-level alchemist would be very different. The strength of alchemy was related to the overall factors. It was almost impossible to nurture 5 alchemists with the same quality, technique, and strength in the same generation. Lan Ruoxue swallowed with difficulty. What exactly is the Black Horse Club? A historical peerless monster. All the members of the Black Horse Club definitely have the potential to enter the monster ranking. Other than the people around Linchen, only Lan Ruoxue, Qin Juyan, and I survived that day. We must report to the sect master as soon as possible. Emo Qingyu's eyes shone with the brightest light in his life. A super sect might rise in the 36 regions. We must do everything we can to be on good terms with the Black Horse Club. Whoosh! Less than 2 hours had passed, and 127th tier medicinal pills soared into the sky. They were dazzling and colorful, dazzling to the eyes. 5 young people with different expressions bathed in the red light, causing everyone to be stunned. As for the silver-robed youth who was standing in the air and constantly taking out large amounts of herbs, he was the leader of these 5 monstrous young people. Even someone as strong as the Dark Pavilion Patriarch couldn't help but sigh. It's a pity to kill so many geniuses. If we can recruit them into our Dark Pavilion, becoming a 5th-grade sect is just around the corner. Chapter 9:18. A saint-level alchemist could not only benefit the entire sect, but also the sect's saint realm experts. In the saint realm, every small realm could be stagnated for 100,000 years, hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years. With the support of a saint-level alchemist, the difference in a sect's development was like heaven and earth, and this seemed to be only the beginning. In the following night, the Black Horse Club refined pills for the entire night. By dawn, more than 600 7th-grade pills had been produced. This efficiency was absolutely comparable to several saint-level alchemists refining 7th-grade pills. Big Brother is always so unexpected. He's so excellent that it's terrifying. Bai Juanhao looked up at his back, a trace of bitterness mixed in his happiness. Yes, we've worked so hard to cultivate. After joining the sect for so many years, I didn't think we'd only be able to touch his back. Yulinlin's eyes flashed as she smiled sweetly. If we don't work harder, we'll be left behind by him again. Yan Qianyun and Shangguan Bihan looked at each other. Ling Yueqi only quietly looked at him. This is too abnormal. This old man is curious about the origin of this Black Horse Club. Just what kind of immortal sect is it? A young man who can teach 5 quasi-saint-level alchemists. I'm afraid it's at least a 5th-grade sect. No, perhaps it's a legendary 6th-grade sect. The several saint-level alchemists who presided over the alchemy convention were filled with enthusiasm and excitement. The good fortune saint shook his head and sighed. As expected of someone who even this old man can't see through fate, the newly refined 7th grade pills were all fed to the shadow egg. In addition to the pills he seized from the genius's storage ring, he fed it 1,200 7th grade pills and 4 million silver Saint Origin coins. Lin Chun still had 200 7th grade medicinal pills on hand, which he kept for this little fellow's food when it was born. Ka, ka. The crisp sound of an eggshell cracking rang out. Lin Chen's spiritual will stared at it. Kacha. The eggshell cracked and a shadow was born. Its appearance was like a black cloud with purple lightning twined around it. The black cloud opened its eyes and rolled its purple pupils, sizing up this new yet familiar world. A purple lightning bolt exploded on top of the black cloud's head. If the little black cloud was compared to a human head, then the purple lightning bolt would be its hair. A young figure appeared. It was Lin Chen's spiritual will. "Little fellow, do you recognize me?" Lin Chen asked via telepathy. The little black cloud nodded. Purple lightning coiled around the top of its head, forming a 6 character. "Very good. Are you willing to follow me? If you follow me in the future, I'll give you as many pills and Saint Origin coins as you want." Lin Chun held a pill in his left hand and a silver Saint Origin coin in his right. Crackle! Purple lightning flashed above the little black cloud's head, condensing into 2 words. Understood. This little guy was born with extremely high intellect. In addition, it had already gained consciousness in the egg, so it was able to communicate perfectly with Lin Chun. It was just that it hadn't fully matured in all aspects, so it couldn't speak yet. Very good. Lin Chun flicked the pill and silver Saint Origin coins to the little black cloud. It opened its mouth, and purple lightning crackled. "With me, Lin Chun, as long as you have something to eat, I won't let you go hungry. But without my permission, you can't touch my things. Do you understand?" The purple lightning condensed above the little black cloud's head. "Eat until you're full." "I understand. What skills do you have? Can you show me?" As soon as Lin Chen finished speaking, the little black cloud disappeared from the peach blossom pouch with a whoosh. Whoosh. The black cloud left the peach blossom pouch and flashed to Lin Chen's feet, gently lifting him up. Lin Chen's body slanted and the space cracked. In an instant, he disappeared. In the next moment, Lin Chen stepped on the air and appeared dozens of miles away. So fast. This is the shadow-traversing void talent. I might really be able to escape from a Saint Realm expert. Lin Chen looked at the purple lightning and black cloud under his feet and was pleasantly surprised. This is... Many saints were shocked. The Dark Shadow Clan. This brat actually had a dark shadow creature. Damn it, how many trump cards does he have? The G family ancestor gritted his teeth, but the Dark Pavilion ancestor was calm. It's just a young dark shadow. This brat can't escape his fate. This little guy has just been born, so it still has a lot of talents to explore. There are too many people here, so let's not do anything for now. Lin Chen tossed a dozen silver Saint Origin coins to the little shadow and put it back into the peach blossom pouch. Lin Chen told it not to run out easily. The little guy seemed to be very smart. It knew the Saint Realm aura outside and nodded continuously. Lin Chen returned to the secret room and continued his seclusion. Everyone from Class 66 guarded Lin Chen's secret room and did not leave. After Lin Chen left, the Ice Heart Palace master turned around and smiled at the saints beside her. "Everyone, is there anyone who still wants to support Lin Chen?" The saints were silent in the secret room. Lin Chen continued to refine the remaining 2 odd crystal fragments, 1 light and 1 lightning. Then, he let his avatar fuse with the cultivation memories. System: learn the second half of the Pill Saint's Handbook. Consumed 122 points of Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essence. Fused with the Cloud Sky Pill Saint's Handbook memory. Lin Chen continued to learn the alchemy experience of the Saint Alchemist. Now that the little shadow was born, his demand for pills would definitely increase. Resting area, a certain main room. 5 people sat at a table with a solemn atmosphere. These people were from the dragon race. One of them respectfully cupped his fists and said, "Crown Prince, our victory is an absolute fact. The humans participating in the competition are nothing to be afraid of, but the problem is that if those saints see through our disguise, I'm afraid they won't be willing to give us the chance to exchange for the divine dragon blood jade. Royal Father has foreseen this. When the time comes, we'll force the good fortune saint to use it for us." The hooded youth in the lead laughed sinisterly. The 4 of them were puzzled. Royal Father has already grasped the secret of the good fortune saint's identity. This person has already offended many forces on the human monstrous talent list. We can force him to work for us. Of course, the premise is that we win the team martial competition. Otherwise, those old fellows will have a valid reason to refuse. Although the good fortune saint's weight isn't small, it isn't enough to shake all of them. The youth stared at the 4 of them and said indifferently, "If you lose the team martial competition, you should know what your fate will be." The 4 of them trembled. They solemnly cupped their fists. "This subordinate guarantees that I will be torn to shreds and die 10,000 deaths without hesitation." 3 days later, the audience was filled with excitement and anticipation. They had already occupied all the seats in the venue. In the final battle of the team martial competition, 2 dark horses had appeared out of nowhere. The champion had already been eliminated by them. Who are these 5 people? Are they all from second-grade sects? It's already the limit for a second-grade sect to produce a genius on the genius list. It's impossible for them to cultivate such monsters. Maybe they're hiding their identities. No matter what, the meeting of the 4 sides didn't explicitly forbid this. I wonder how the Black Horse Club will fight. The audience eagerly waited. The geniuses on the genius list all had dignified expressions. They could faintly feel that these 5 people who were hiding their identities had an extremely terrifying strength. Perhaps they were even stronger than the people from the Black Horse Club. Chapter 9:19. On the stage, there were 5 opponents and 13 on Lin Chen's side. Su Lan and her sister did not fight, as they did not have the combat power of the genius rankings. When the fight starts, remember to follow the original plan. You just have to hold one of them back and leave the other 3 to my doppelgangers. Lin Chen transmitted his voice to everyone using his battle aura. Everyone in Class 66 nodded seriously. The referee gave the order. "Let the finals begin." Rip. The 4 of them slanted their bodies slightly as they transformed into golden lights. Their speed was extremely fast and only Lin Chen was able to react in time. 7 transformations, ultimate moment, ultimate return to origin. Lin Chen activated his talent and covered everyone's retreat. The doppelgangers rushed forward, their elbows covered with the indestructible metal tribulation profound handle. The 4 doppelgangers raised their hands and struck furiously with their elbows. The 7 forces combined collided head-on with the explosive golden light. Bang! 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 Their elbows and fists collided. The golden light surged and filled the sky. The battle stage collapsed and ripples appeared in the air. The doppelgangers took 9 steps back, while the 4 opponents only took 2 steps back. The metal tribulation profound handle shattered, and Zhen Daying and the others bled from their arms. The geniuses on the genius rankings outside the arena stood up in shock. This power was comparable to a 4th Tribulation Combat Emperor. Lin Chen's expression was serious. What a perverted destructive power. All of them are above 65 million dragon power points. In the field of body refining, 10 million to 99 million dragon power points were 1st Tribulation Combat Emperors, 20 million to 99 million dragon power points were 2nd Tribulation Combat Emperors, 40 million to 99 million dragon power points were 3rd Tribulation Combat Emperors, 60 million to 79. 99 million dragon power points were 4th Tribulation Combat Emperors, and 80 million to 99. 99 million dragon power points were 5th Tribulation Combat Emperors. To put it bluntly, the real combat power of these four was at Qin Shaotian's level. They were equivalent to the 75,000 geniuses on the genius rankings. Fortunately, the class leader reminded us. Otherwise, we would have been killed instantly. Bai Juanhao squinted his eyes. His body was filled with a murderous aura. According to the original plan, we will attack one of them together. Yu Linlin's slender hand slapped a holy light seal. Lu Linner flicked her finger and a poisonous light flashed. Ling Yueqi drew her bow and moved gracefully. Bai Juanhao and the other two charged forward and attracted the firepower of one of the enemies. Both sides were about to clash. Lin Chen, the Dragon Emperor, and their doppelgangers stood motionless. The four of them faced each other and did not make any rash moves. The Dragon Emperor had 99 million dragon power points, while Lin Chen and all his clones could temporarily reach 5 million dragon power points when they activated their ultimate powers. Although the gap did not seem big, it was actually a huge gap. My chances of winning in a head-on clash are unknown, so I'll use the safest method. Seeing that the other party had yet to make a move, his clone made the first move. Boom! With the crimson spear in hand, Lin Chen twisted the pitch-black whirlpool beneath his feet as he used the infinite silent steps and charged straight towards the motionless black-robed youth. At the same time, Jundok Shuai unsheathed his sword. His sword flashed like 7 stars as he slashed at one of them. His sword energy was like a crescent moon as it slashed horizontally. The three of them twisted their bodies, and a golden dragon aura burst out of their bodies. The dragon aura exploded with a golden glow, shaking off the blades of the other two and forcing Zhen Dang and Jundok Shuai to retreat. The three of them punched out with their fists again, and a streak of azure dragon light turned into a sword. The arrow spiraled over, emitting a dark murderous aura that absorbed vitality. The 5 doppelgangers and the Dragon Emperor clashed head-on with the other party. On the other side, Lin Chen smashed down with his spear. The black-robed youth smiled sinisterly. His hands flashed with a golden light and turned into golden dragon claws. The dragon claw came crashing down, slamming into the spear light. Clang! TSK, TSK, TSK. Sparks flew everywhere, and golden light flashed wildly. Lin Chen's body spun rapidly, and the tip of his spear swept diagonally. The fourth style, sky-splitting, slashed down. Whoosh! The dragon tail smashed violently as it swept through the army. The tyrannical and powerful dragon force shattered Lin Chen's long river spear light. Lin Chen's arm went numb. This person's pure strength was even crazier than the other four. The golden dragon tail looked thick, but it was actually very fast. The moment it shattered the spear, it struck like a viper and shattered Lin Chen's afterimage. Dark light flashed, and Lin Chen's figure appeared behind the other party. The tip of his spear pierced the other party's back. It was actually an afterimage. "You think you're fast?" A voice full of sneer and disdain rang out. A dragon claw clawed at Lin Chen, intending to crush him. Blood Shura. Charge penetration. In danger, Lin Chen took a step back and unleashed a level 6 charge rune and penetration rune. His body turned like a dragon, and his spear smashed forward. The red spear exploded with the pure power of the fire calamity battle airflow and burning. Bang! The tip of the spear collided with the dragon claw's golden scales. Lin Chen's arm creaked. It was the sound of his bones being crushed. His 3-inch calamity defense was easily shattered. The golden dragon's breath rolled up a wave, and Lin Chen and that person instantly retreated. Blood flowed from the corner of Lin Chen's mouth. Everyone was shocked. Lin Chen, who challenged all the geniuses of the Extreme Heaven Pavilion alone, was actually injured? Even the entire Extreme Heaven Pavilion besieging him couldn't cause him any injuries. Rip. The golden blade flashed, and Lin Chun took advantage of the moment when he was sent flying to attack with the vanishing shadow flying dagger. The blade spun rapidly and went straight for the other party's back. Fully triggered passive talent. Strong attack. Power bonus, 300%. Roar. The golden dragon aura condensed above that person's head and turned into a huge dragon that pounced and bit off Lin Chen's follow-up flying dagger. However, the 25% power penetration still caused the blade's residual charm to pass by like snowflakes, cutting his face and drawing blood. Lin Chen's expression was solemn. Although the vanishing shadow flying dagger just now wasn't the fourth style, it activated the charging and penetration runes, superimposing the ultimate moment and the strong attack talent. Even so, it could only cut a little bit of the other party's defense. His cloak split open, and a blade scar appeared on his handsome face. His true appearance was handsome and cold, imposing without being angry, and there was an innate nobility between his brows that no one else had. Interesting to actually be able to break this prince's dragon scale defense. This flying dagger skill is not bad. The prince nodded in approval, his eyes filled with even more cold killing intent. 99 million dragon power, equivalent to peak 4 tribulation cultivation, plus an unknown mysterious dragon body, so strong. This guy's strength, as Saint Azure said, has simply stepped into the 60,000 plus level of the genius ranking. Lin Chun activated Extreme Origin Restoration to heal his injuries. This dragon ancestor's cultivation completely suppressed him. Even if Lin Chun had First Tribulation Combat Emperor cultivation, he wouldn't be able to receive the flying dagger just now so easily. Should I break through to First Tribulation Combat Emperor here? No, this is an important method to deal with the Sage Realm. I have to rely on other methods to defeat him. His defense is so difficult to break, fighting him head-on alone isn't the way. Just as Lin Chun was thinking, a few dragon roars came over. Roar, roar, roar. Dazzling golden dragon chi erupted from the bodies of the previous 4 people. The domineering dragon chi tore apart their disguises and robes, revealing their identities. They wore golden-armored dragon scales and were majestic. Their dragon tails swayed, their dragon horns were pure gold, and they had human bodies and dragon heads. A brutal and violent aura was released. Dragon race? They are actually from the dragon race. Golden Armored Dragon Guards, my god, it's actually the Golden Armored Dragon Guards. This is known as one of the most powerful and domineering teams in the young dragon race. When the 4 people revealed their true faces, the audience was shocked. Ha ha ha, a mere black horse club, Lin Chun, you can't beat this prince, die. The cold youth laughed wildly and immediately rushed over to Lin Chun. The corners of many audience and geniuses' mouths trembled a few times. This prince? Could it be that the dragon race's prince came personally? Chapter 920. Only the top young prodigies of the dragon race could enter the Golden Armor Dragon Guards. They were famous for being fearless and domineering. After revealing their true identities, the dragon race began to suppress the situation. Ling Yueqi and the rest could barely stall for time. When the Golden Armor Dragon Guards revealed their identities, their dragon power rose to 69 million. I didn't expect the Dragon Crown Prince to personally participate in the 4 Powers Conference, to be able to bring 4 Golden Armored Dragon Guards with him. Only the Dragon Crown Prince can do that. Rumor has it that when the dragon race reaches adulthood, if they can't pass the test, even their children will be executed. It's extremely cruel. That's right. Many dragon crown princes and princesses were born because of this. All of them are extremely powerful. Even the youngest crown prince and princess is no weaker than the 70,000 on the prodigy roll. While the prodigies were shocked, the Black Horse Club switched opponents at this time. Shintoku Sho and Shintoku Sho blocked a golden armor dragon guard and fought with all their might. Meanwhile, Shintoku Sho and Shintoku Sho were fighting the golden armor dragon guard head-on. They were even fighting in close combat. They swept their legs, elbowed their elbows, and punched their fists. Their dragon power twisted the air, and the Seven Extremes force was fully displayed. He was actually using the golden armor dragon guard's best pure strength to fight the opponent head-on. Countless prodigies gasped at the sight. Every time they collided with the opponent's pure strength, Shintoku Sho and Shintoku Sho would bleed profusely. These two guys were playing with their lives. Aren't the dragon race breaking the rules? The dragon race has also participated in the conference in the past. They didn't break the rules. The prodigy's expressions were solemn. Only Lin Chen's expression gradually calmed down. He raised his red spear again and smashed it down fiercely. The Dragon Crown Prince opened his mouth and formed a dozen golden dragon auras that charged forward. The tip of Lin Chen's spear trembled, and its sharpness dissipated. Bang! Lin Chen was blasted hundreds of meters away by the Dragon Crown Prince's spear, and a shocking wound appeared on his arm. Lin Chen used Silent Step, and the Dark Tribulation Vortex flashed, leaving afterimages in the sky. Insignificant skill. Not worth mentioning. Dragon Shadow. The Dragon Crown Prince sneered in disdain. The golden dragon shadow swam behind him and disappeared in a flash. A golden light and a dark light flashed within the fighting technique space. Every time they collided, a terrifying energy explosion would be created. Every time the dark light afterimage tried to shake it off, no, the gap between them is too big. No matter how strong Lin Chen is, he is only a late 9th level combat emperor. There is a difference of 4 levels between them, not to mention the Dragon Clan's Crown Prince. Even with the 8th step artifact embryo, it can't block it. The other party's Dragon Chi is too hard. The veteran battle emperors with sharp eyes shook their heads. The Black Horse Club was going to lose. No, look. Hiss. Here they come. Jundok Shuai and Zhen Diju's joint attack. An 8th tier saber and 8th tier sword attack together. Some of the geniuses instantly realized that something was wrong and exclaimed in surprise. On the battlefield, all the golden armored dragon guards were being held back. The strongest among them, Jundok Shuai and Zhen Diju, had surrounded one of the golden armored dragon guards. Moreover, their weapons had been changed from a 7th tier weapon to an 8th tier saber, the Saint's Sword Atlas. Although an 8th tier saint weapon is strong, only a saint can unleash its power. The golden armored dragon guard sneered and smashed his dragon tail across the sky. The tail of the golden dragon pendulum was torn apart and exploded. Mirror of Protection. Zhen Dijio held the saber in his hand and the azure moon danced in the air, deflecting the 3 saber light mirrors. The saber light mirrors reflected the moonlight. The charging runes were fully activated and the water calamity battle physique was pushed to the extreme. His arm swung the saber rapidly and the mirror became even more dazzling. Chi. Bang. The water moon mirror surged and blocked the dragon tail's attack. It even bounced it back. What? The golden armored dragon guard was shocked. Jundok Shuai held the Atlas sword with both hands. The aura of a king overflowed from the sword, and a trace of anger that could burn the heavens rose between the heavens and the earth. Jundok Shuai raised the Atlas sword and an orange light condensed on the tip of the sword. All the swordsmen were shocked. The Thunder Sword Saint's eyes were burning with passion. Here it comes. The peerless strike of an orange rank sword art. Do you think a 9th level combat emperor can overturn the heavens? Watch out for my golden armor heavenly protection. The golden armored dragon guard sneered fearlessly. The ocean-like golden dragon aura appeared and was about to form a dragon aura barrier. Chi. A gray talisman fell from the sky with the power of wind and lightning. Activated level 6 slow, charging, level 5 penetration talisman. Consumed 2 points of high-grade talisman energy. What? What the hell is this? The golden armored dragon guard was shocked. This time, even the dragon prince looked serious. This time, the slow talisman could only seal the opponent for a moment, but it was enough. Sky soaring sword fury. The orange sword chi stretched across the sky and was several hundred feet long. Like a flash of rainbow, it suddenly slashed down fiercely. Rumble. This sky soaring sword fury was several times more powerful than the time when it killed Lien Daihua. It stunned all the swordsmen in the audience. Chi. Slash. The sword aura tore the golden armored dragon guard's dragon scales, and blood spurted out. The orange sword aura slashed down on his right arm and half of his body. His whole body was burning with orange flames, causing him to roar in pain. Before the audience could exclaim in amazement, Zhen Dijiu held his saber with one hand and turned it around. The azure moon flowed with moonlight that penetrated the marrow. The sages were shocked. Could it be? Activated level 6 charging, level 5 penetration talisman. Consumed 65 million middle-grade talisman energy. Moon Mirror Imperial God. Zhen Dijiu slashed horizontally with his saber, and a ray of moonlight flashed across the sky. The heaven and earth seemed to be illuminated by the moonlight. The moonlight shone on the 9 continents and all living beings. The moonlight flashed and disappeared quickly. Before most of the audience could react, the ray of moonlight flashed and brought about shock and death. Crack! The golden armored dragon guard's neck cracked, and a large amount of dragon blood flowed out and rolled down the attribute light ball. The dragon light flashed, and the golden armored dragon guard revealed his true form. He turned into a golden dragon that was hundreds of feet long. Silence. The entire audience fell silent in an instant. Is he dead? What happened? How did the golden armored dragon guard die? Although Jundok Shuai's attack was powerful, it only severely injured the golden armored dragon guard. The sages' faces were extremely solemn. The geniuses on the genius ranking and some 5 tribulation battle emperors were dumbfounded. Their mouths were trembling as if they had seen a ghost. Orange grade saber art? That saber art is as powerful as Jundok Shuai's attack. It's a powerful orange grade saber art. Some of the geniuses said in a trembling voice. If they were to face that saber art, they might not even know how they were killed. Orange grade again. The Black Horse Club used 2 orange grade techniques in a row. Countless veteran experts couldn't help but shout in their hearts, monsters. The Black Horse Club is a bunch of monsters. Jundok Shuai is already heaven-defying. Now Zhen Dijiu, who is also a 9th level heavenly dragon, has mastered an orange grade technique. Chapter 921. Wherever the moonlight past, the pale young man in black was left in its wake. Everyone could not help but exclaim, "What a beautiful moonlight!" In the afterglow of the beautiful moonlight, there was an absolute killing intent. This scene was engraved in everyone's heart. Under the gentle moonlight, the young man stood with his saber in his hand. A few hundred meters away, the golden dragon was lying in a pool of blood. Wherever the moonlight shone, it was like his absolute domain. Bang! A series of characters exploded above Zhen Dijiu's head in a dazzling golden light. Genius ranking 94171 Zhen Dijiu. Title: Moon Monarch. Affiliated faction: Black Horse Club, faction grade unknown. If the golden armored dragon guards could successfully defend against the combined attack of Zhen Dijiu and Jundok Shuai, they could at least save their lives. The dragon clan's body and life force were stronger than most living beings, let alone the dragon clan, which was comparable to a 4th tribulation battle emperor. However, Lin Chun had a trump card, the rune of deceleration. In a way, the golden armored dragon guards were strong enough to force Lin Chun to use 2 sacred weapons, the rune of deceleration and 2 semi-orange ranked combat technique. Because the above methods were close to the limit of Lin Chen's current strength, the Dragon Crown Prince roared furiously. How dare you kill my people? You are courting death. He waved his golden dragon claw and knocked away Lin Chen's red spear. Lin Chen's right arm was bleeding. He broke through Lin Chen's entanglement and rushed toward Jundok Shuai and Zhendiji. Zhendijiu and Jundok Shuai ignored the Dragon Crown Prince's attack. One took the attribute Light Ball and the other rushed toward Class 66 to support them. Host has received 1 high-grade metal energy, 1 high-grade metal energy, 1 mid-grade talent point, 3,955 high-grade blood essence, 2,223 high-grade blood essence. The Dragon Crown Prince was furious when he saw that the other party ignored him, as if he had been greatly humiliated. He had never met a 9th-level combat emperor who dared to ignore him. On the contrary, the 9th-level combat emperors who saw him were like little white rabbits who saw a big bad wolf. They could only tremble in fear. The enraged Dragon Crown Prince suddenly transformed into his true form. His draconic aura filled the air as a massive 9-clawed golden dragon appeared out of nowhere. Hundreds and thousands of streaks of golden light flowed like heavenly rivers, illuminating the mighty golden dragon that was over 1,000 feet long. The dragon's scales shimmered with golden light, its eyes were crimson red, and its appearance was majestic and mighty. It's the 9-clawed Heavenly Dipper Golden Dragon Crown Prince. The Dragon Crown Prince with a 2nd-grade bloodline is so powerful. His dragon claw can easily injure a 3-tribulation battle emperor. The 9-clawed Heavenly Dipper Golden Dragon breathed out a golden dragon breath like a primordial remnant beast, exuding an extremely ferocious aura. Some of the geniuses on the genius ranking felt a fatal killing intent from the Dragon Crown Prince's body and subconsciously took a few steps back. His golden dragon scales glowed with a golden radiance, and his dragon eyes emitted a radiance that seemed capable of swallowing the moon and stars. With a sway of his dragon body, he abruptly shot towards Zhendijiu and the others, activating the level 6 slowing rune, consuming 1 point of high-grade rune energy. The grayish-white rune exploded on top of the golden dragon's head. The Dragon Crown Prince's dragon body paused for a moment, and the golden dragon aura burst out from his body and broke through the restriction of the slowing rune. However, Lin Chen only needed this moment of pause. He quickly used the silent step and flew towards the Dragon Crown Prince's head. He clenched his left hand into a fist and channeled 58.5 million dragon energy into his fist along with the 9 types of heavenly tribulation battle chi. The pure energy in his body condensed into 2 streaks of dragon aura that swirled around his fist. It carried a domineering aura that was ready to fight to the death. With the help of the runes, Lin Chen's aura swallowed the heavens and pierced through the sky. Then, he violently punched the Dragon Crown Prince's head. The Dragon Crown Prince's expression changed drastically. 7 Ultimate Force, Life and Death Ultimate Force. This punch was like a furious wave crashing down. This punch was like the eruption of a volcano that had been accumulating power for 1,000 years. This punch was filled with a domineering aura. 2 streaks of dragon aura spiraled into the Dragon Crown Prince's body, and 25% of the power of the punch was channeled into his body. Activated complete passive talent. Assault. Power increase. 300%. Bang. The fist violently hit the Golden Dragon Crown Prince's head. At the critical moment, the Golden Dragon Crown Prince activated a dragon aura shield, but it was still smashed into golden sand by Lin Chen's punch. The fist ferociously hit the Golden Dragon Crown Prince's head. Boom. Raging winds raged as Lin Chen's golden fist with 9-colored battle chi around it exploded, causing shockwaves to rise into the air. He smashed the insufferably arrogant Golden Dipper dragon that soared into the sky with a single punch, causing it to fall to the ground. Bang! The Golden Dragon Crown Prince landed on the ground, and the battle technique platform easily shattered like tofu. The Dragon Crown Prince's dragon scales cracked and bled. He rolled his dragon body and howled. Fatal Bloodthirst activated successfully. Consumed 3.9 million elementary talent points. Obtained 45% actual healing effect. Lin Chen's arm that was about to break was nourished and healed by the new vitality. Even so, his bones and tendons were still broken. Damned mortal, how dare you sneak attack me? Lin Chen held his left arm and sneered. Those who look down on mortals like me are usually smashed into meat paste by me. You only took one punch. Why are you screaming? The geniuses on the genius rankings were in disbelief. The Dragon Crown Prince's body defense was so strong that none of the geniuses present could break through it. The heavily injured Lin Chen actually knocked him down with one punch? Orange grade. It's actually orange grade again, and it's a rare orange grade body refining battle technique. Too powerful. The Black Horse Club hit it too well. If it wasn't for an opponent like the Dragon Crown Prince, they wouldn't have been able to force out such a trump card. The sages were shocked and exclaimed. The veteran battle emperors sucked in cold breath. It was a shocking sight. 3 orange-grade battle techniques? The Black Horse Club had actually used 3 orange-grade battle techniques since the start of the finals? This was ridiculous. An orange-tier combat skill was considered a core cultivation method even in a large rank 4 sect. There were not many people who could cultivate it. Only a few third-grade sects had orange-grade battle techniques, and most of them were only half orange-grade. What did it mean to have 3 orange-grade battle techniques? Without a doubt, only the highest 5th-grade sects had such a foundation. Lin Chen's 7 Ultimate Force used 7 types of dragon power. After Lin Chen ate the purple understanding fruit, he comprehended the 8th type of force, the Life and Death Ultimate Force. Its power was comparable to a half-orange-grade battle technique. However, because it was a body-refining technique, the Life and Death Ultimate Force's power was only doubled. In addition to the plus 13 strengthening and recharging runes, it was only 9.5 times. However, this was a sneak attack, so the assault talent was perfectly activated. Stacking together, it was 12.5 times. That was why it was comparable to an orange-grade body-refining battle technique. A few of my elbow bones are broken. If it wasn't for the successful activation of Fatal Bloodlust, the situation would have been worse. Looks like I'll need to have at least 60 million dragon power points to be able to use the Life and Death Ultimate Force safely. Lin Chen's mind was like lightning. He grabbed the 2 attribute light balls dropped by the Dragon Crown Prince and quickly retreated. Lin Chen activated the Ultimate Restoration talent and quickly recovered his injuries and expended Battle Aura. Although the Dragon Crown Prince was injured, his vitality was extremely tenacious. He swung his tail and soared into the sky. Instant Dragon Breath. He spat out a dragon breath at Lin Chen and shot dozens of golden light beams. Lin Chen's pupils trembled. If he was hit by this attack, he would be crippled even if he didn't die. The range is too big and the speed is too fast. I can't dodge it. System, super-dimensional teleportation. The dragon breath beam swept past, and Lin Chen disappeared. It didn't hit him? Impossible. His movement technique isn't fast enough to dodge this prince's instant dragon breath. The Dragon Crown Prince was stunned. The sage's eyes focused. This kid wasn't a sage, but he could use the secret technique of space jumping? The next moment, Lin Chen's figure appeared beside the clone. Sword Fury Sky. Mirror Moon Imperial God. A host has activated the talent, Tier the enemy target's overall defense. With a boom, the giant dragon fell and blood spurted out. Another golden armor dragon guard fell. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.